Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream on this historic night at St James's Park. Champions League football returns to the city of Newcastle for the first time in over 20 years. The last ever Champions League game at this stadium was in the third round of qualifying in 2003, which was 7,343 days ago now. But fast forward to the present, and Eddie Howe has transformed the team to play in this season's Champions League, where the opener was a well thought out 0-0 draw at the San Siro against AC Milan. And for the travelling team PSG, they started with 3 points against Borussia Dortmund at home, where a penalty from Mbappe and a goal from Hakimi, both coming in the second half, gave PSG the perfect start to their life in Group F. Despite injuries hitting the Newcastle squad, they have managed to have kept 5 clean sheets in a row now in all competitions, but having to deal with the likes of Mbappe tonight, that might change their record without conceding the goal in the last 5 games. For PSG, under new head coach Luis Enrique, their start to the league season has been rather flat. Despite only one loss in their first 7, they have also only managed 12 points, winning 3 and drawing 3 of the other 6 games they've played so far. This is a game which both teams will fancy taking all 3 points, but it will still be a battle for both to get maximum reward. So, for the first ever meeting between Newcastle and PSG, can Newcastle pick up their first 3 points since their return to the Champions League, or will PSG make it 2 wins from 2 to start off their Champions League campaign for this season? It is a huge night at St James's Park. I would love to be in the stadium right now, soaking up the atmosphere. From the pictures I've just been seeing before the game, it looks absolutely rocking in Newcastle right now. They've got some stuff going on around the ground. There was some talks of a drone display showing the starting 11. There was practices going on earlier on in the week, so apparently there is going to be drones all flying up, showing off each player starting. I don't know how true that is, but that would be pretty cool. But it looks like it's going to be absolutely electric in St James's Park tonight, and it just obviously adds more to it when you're playing the likes of PSG, and they've also got AC Milan to come and visit St James's Park with Borussia Dortmund as well. Even though it's such a difficult group, it makes it so exciting for the supporters to be able to go and travel to these different big teams and stadiums, and then to also welcome them to their home ground as well. You know, personally, if it was me, I'd rather have a group like this where you're playing the big teams and you can really test yourselves against the elite in Europe. Obviously, some fans would rather have an easy group and get through to knockout rounds, but I just think, you know, you're guaranteed Newcastle this season. They're guaranteed 3 huge nights at home in the Champions League instead of maybe one big night in the group and then possibly getting a smaller team in the knockout rounds, and they might not even progress. So I just think the fact they've got 3 huge teams in the group stage where they can have 6 games against some of the best around Europe, you know, one of the best teams in Germany, one of the best in Italy, and the best in France. I just think it's going to be such a good, you know, group stage for Newcastle, and obviously they started off decently well. It's a tough place to go, the San Siro, when you're playing AC Milan or Inter Milan. Obviously both sides got far last season. Inter Milan were the one to get to the final. AC Milan reached the semi-finals, but a 0-0 draw is something that they will definitely take. Newcastle United and for PSG, their 2-0 home win against Borussia Dortmund put them on the right track as well for this group. You know, this is the group of death, but it makes for fantastic Champions League football, which we all now get to enjoy. But for Newcastle, they are doing decently. 5 clean sheets in a row in all competitions. They've won 4 of their last 5 and drew the other as well. They're on a good run of form currently at the minute. Obviously, sandwiched in that run of 5 clean sheets. They beat Sheffield United 8-0 a few weeks ago. 8 different scorers as well, which is absolutely ridiculous. Just to go through the scorers: Longstaff, Byrne, Botman, Wilson, Gordon, Almiron, Guimaraes and Isak were the goal scorers, which is absolutely insane to have 8 different scorers. There is big injuries though tonight for Newcastle, which we're going to go through. We're going to go through both sets of lineups now in a little bit more detail for you. Obviously they're both on screen and the substitutes, but just to give a little bit of info on each player as we go through, because you know some people might not be fully aware of who some of the PSG players are. So we'll go through them right now, and we'll start with Newcastle. We'll start with Nick Pope joined last summer from Burnley for £12 million. He starts in goal. He's currently got 5 clean sheets so far this season, 3 of them in the Premier League. A back four of right-back Kieran Trippier, who reached the Champions League final back in 2019 with Tottenham. On the left is going to be Dan Burn, once a season ticket holder at Newcastle. He was released at the age of 11, but he returned back in January of 2022 from Brighton. And 2 centre-halves are Fabian Schär, who joined 5 years ago from Deportivo La Coruña for £3 million. And next to him is Jamal Lascelles, club captain. He's in for the injured Sven Botman. The Dutchman is currently out of a knee injury. He will return after the international break, but it's a big night for the 29-year-old. Not got a lot of football recently. He's played 3 games so far this season. He only managed 11 appearances the whole of last season. So he is lacking first team minutes, but he'll be well and truly up for the battle tonight, Jamal Lascelles. 3 midfield is going to be Bruno Guimaraes, playing as a holding midfielder, playing his second ever Champions League campaign. He played 4 times for Lyon in the 2019-2020 season. And then either side of him in the midfield is going to be Sandro Tonali, a £55 million signing this summer from AC Milan, a man who was able to get 3 assists in the 12 Champions League games he played last season on the route to the AC Milan semi-final, where they were knocked out by Inter. And in that midfield as well is Sean Longstaff, who's been at the club since the age of 9. The last time Newcastle were in the Champions League, Sean Longstaff was only 5 years old. This is his 145th Newcastle appearance. As a front three, we've got Miguel Almiron on the right. 2 goals so far this season. They've come in the last 2 games. That 8-0 away win at Sheffield United and the 2-0 home win at the weekend against Burnley. Anthony Gordon on the left, also 2 goals for him so far this season, at home to Liverpool and away to Sheffield United. He will be missing the game at the weekend, though, Anthony Gordon, in the Premier League, against West Ham away due to a yellow card suspension. And leading the line up front, Callum Wilson is out injured with a hamstring injury, so it does mean Alexander Isak will be playing up front, the 6'4" Swedish international who previously once a Borussia Dortmund player, but he's now at Newcastle, making his 36th appearance for the club. He's already got 15 goals in the colour of black and white, and he'll be looking to add to his Champions League account. He's made 2 appearances in the Champions League. One was off the bench in October 2017 for Borussia Dortmund, and obviously he started again against AC Milan away, so he's yet to score in the Champions League, Alexander Isak. So that's the starting 11 for Newcastle. Their bench is Dubravka, Karius, Livramento, Dummett, Hall, Target, Miley, Anderson and Murphy. A bit light on the bench. They are missing a few players I've mentioned. Those players injured are Sven Botman, Joe Linton, Joe Willock, Harvey Barnes and Callum Wilson. They're the main 5 out for Newcastle, but it's still a strong starting 11 and some decent options on the bench if they are needed. For PSG, they start with Gianluigi Donnarumma in goal, the 6'5" Italian goalkeeper who won the Euros back in 2021 on English soil with Italy. And on the right is going to be Ashraf Hakimi at right back, signed for €70 million from Inter Milan 2 years ago. At left back is going to be Lucas Hernandez, who was a €40 million signing for PSG in the summer, signing from Bayern Munich. The 2 centre-backs is going to be captain Marquinhos and new signing Milan Skriniar, who joined from Inter Milan in the summer on a free. I think it's going to be 2 midfield. We're going to have to see, because they've got 2 wingers on and 2 strikers, so we'll have to see what they go for, but we're going to believe it's 2 midfielders in there. It's going to be Manuel Ugarte, who's a €60 million signing from Sporting Lisbon in the summer, and Warren Zaire-Emery, 17 years of age, born in 2006. He was the youngest ever player to start a match for PSG back in the Cup last year in January 2023 at the age of 16 years, 9 months and 29 days old. He makes his back-to-back starts in the Champions League. He did feature in their last game against Borussia Dortmund for the full 90 minutes, and then a front 4 it looks like, but we're going to have to see just how PSG set up on the right. It's going to be new signing Ousmane Dembele, who's yet to score for his new club PSG in his opening 7 games for the club. On the left is going to be Kylian Mbappe. He's already got 7 goals so far in Ligue 1. He missed the first game of the season, but he scored then 3 braces in a row against Lens, Lyon and Nice. But he's not scored in his last 2 in the league, but he did bag against Dortmund in PSG opener in the Champions League. So Kylian Mbappe's got 8 so far in 7 for the season in all competitions. And then the 2 leading strikers, both new signings. The first one is going to be Gonzalo Ramos, the Portuguese international, scored a hat-trick against Switzerland in the World Cup round of 16 in the December. And leading the line with him is going to be Randall Kolo Muani, signed for £76.4 million from Frankfurt on deadline day. He's got the 2 goals so far this season, and he's got the 1 goal so far this season for PSG. Kolo Muani since joining, that came in Game 6 against Marseille in a 4-0 home win for PSG. So we are edging close to kick-off. We think it's going to be 4 up front, but Ousmane Dembele could be dropping into midfield for PSG, so we'll just have to keep an eye out on what system PSG go for. They're also a little bit stricken with injuries and just general players in the squad. They've only been able to manage 8 substitutes, and they are Keylor Navas, Arnau Tenas, Nordi Mukiele, Bradley Bacalo, Danilo Pereira, Fabian Ruiz, Carlos Soler and Vitinha. So no actual strikers or wingers on the bench for PSG. They're all starting on the field tonight at St James's Park. So it's an attacking lineup for PSG, maybe targeting the fact that you could label Newcastle's defences a little bit weak. Obviously, they haven't got Sven Botman in. He's injured, so Jamal Lascelles is playing. Dan Burn coming up against the likes of Ousmane Dembele and Kylian Mbappe, possibly. You know, you'd fancy your chances if you're PSG when you've got Dan Burn and Jamal Lascelles at the back. But it might give Newcastle, well, it would give Newcastle an extra man in midfield, which they would like to dominate in the likes of Tonali, Guimaraes and Longstaff. That is a strong midfield. As at St James's Park, we are underway. PSG kicking left to right, Newcastle right to left. PSG start with kick-off with a long ball in towards the edge of the 18-yard box towards Kolo Muani, cleared by Fabian Schär, and it will be retrieved for PSG by Hakimi as he takes the throw in on halfway, and he takes it quickly back into his own half to Marquinhos. He goes inside to Ugarte, ball forward, cut out on halfway by Tonali. On the left-hand side, he's got Gordon ahead of him, who will be bursting forward. He'll try and play it in towards the former Everton winger. He's just gone ahead of him, and it's picked up by Hakimi at right back, and cleared in the 18-yard box by Marquinhos. Looking for Ramos, won by Burn. It's now Guimaraes out to the right towards Almiron, flicks it forward to Isak, who helps it on once more to the edge of the box. It's picked up calmly by Hakimi, and he plays it out to the right to Ousmane Dembele, who attempts to play it forward. It bounces off Dan Burn, and it'll be a throw-in for PSG inside their own half. Lively start from both sides. Again, we're going to just have a look now, see what kind of system Luis Enrique's gone for PSG tonight, the Spanish head coach. So Hakimi on the ball at right back, passes the halfway line into the Newcastle half for PSG, links up with Ousmane Dembele, who's taking a position up on the right wing, plays it down the line, looking for Hakimi on the byline as he slides to try and keep the ball, and he kicks it out for a goal kick as he was being hunted down there by Fabian Schär, the Swiss centre-half for Newcastle. If you are new, make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already for a big night in the Champions League. I'll keep you up to date as well with all other Champions League results as the goals go in. All games that have kicked off at 8 o'clock currently 0-0, but we're only a few minutes into each of them. As Nick Pope here has the goal kick for Newcastle. He aims it towards the Newcastle left where Anthony Gordon will not win the header on Marquinhos. It drops out to the right to Ousmane Dembele, who keeps it in, and he can burst beyond Dan Burn, but he tries to take on the full back again as he goes inside to Zaire Emery. Gets the return from Mbappe. It's now back to the right back Hakimi. Just adventuring inside the Newcastle half as it's gone inside towards the halfway line now to Milan Skriniar, the left centre half tonight for PSG, playing alongside Marquinhos, who's on the ball here just inside his own half. Now Marquinhos been at PSG for 10 years. Joined from Roma in 2013 for €31.4 million. It's Marquinhos. Hakimi back into the 18-yard box to Donnarumma as Newcastle trigger a press here for Isak. He rushes it back out to Marquinhos. He just about keeps it in, and he's tackled there by Gordon, who's getting the fans up for it. He presses Marquinhos quickly and kicks the ball out for a goal kick. And as he tackled Marquinhos, he got the fans going, raising his arms, trying to get the fans as loud as possible, but I don't think he needs to do that, Anthony Gordon. I don't think he needs to do any cheerleading in this ground. I'm sure the noise will be made on its own by the supporters as Marquinhos clears up towards Gonzalo Ramos, just inside the Newcastle PSG half. He loses out here with a ball forward by Longstaff, hooked away by Fabian Schär, and it'll loop right into the hands of Gianluigi Donnarumma in the PSG goal, who rolls it out to the edge of the box to Marquinhos. Ball forward to Ugarte. Out to the right back, Hakimi, midway inside his own half, dinks it over the top, in behind, looking for Ousmane Dembele as Nick Pope will let the ball run into the box and he will collect ahead of the former Barcelona winger. Decent season last year, Ousmane Dembele in La Liga, 5 goals and 7 assists. Got 1 goal in the Champions League when Barcelona were in it in the group stages against Inter Milan. Nick Pope sends a long ball forward towards Isak, tries to nod it out to the left towards Anthony Gordon. He loses out to Hakimi, and as Hakimi plays it down the PSG right, it'll be swept up here by Fabian Schär, who turns Ramos and plays it forward to Guimaraes. Out to the left to Tonali. First time ball round the corner, looking for Isak, who does nod it down out the left, looking for Anthony Gordon, but it can be seen away for a throw-in by Marquinhos, midway inside his own half. That'll be the Moroccan Hakimi to take. And he gets the return from Ousmane Dembele and sends it out to the left-hand side here for PSG. That's now a Skriniar on the edge of the 18-yard box. Ugarte goes out to the left to Lucas Hernandez. Ball forward to Zaire Emery. Great ball. Passes the halfway line. Looks to his left and he'll find the main man himself, Kylian Mbappe. In the final third, he's got Zaire Emery overlapping. He'll put a ball in himself towards the far post. Ousmane Dembele! And on the volley, on the angle, on the right side of the box, he just fires wide. Real danger sign for Newcastle. They've got to be careful. It was well worked by Lucas Hernandez to play the ball forward to Zaire Emery. And from midfield, he burst forward deep into the Newcastle half. And as he played it out to the left, Mbappe, just on the edge of the box, clips it out to the far post to Ousmane Dembele, who was given a free volley at it. Wasn't closed down quick enough by Dan Burn. And it just went wide of the far post there. So unfortunate from Dembele, searching for his first goal for PSG. Just around 10 yards out at the far post. It was great technique, just didn't curl in enough for him to go into that bottom left corner, but it's a well-worked attack by PSG. First big chance of the game, 5.5 minutes in, is a Nick Pope goal kick. Goes out of play on the PSG right on this near side, just on the halfway line here for Hakimi to take. Very close from Ousmane Dembele. 10 goals he's got in the Champions League. This is his 42nd appearance. He got 8 goals in 30 in the competition for Barcelona. As Ugarte goes back to Skriniar, who takes a touch midway inside his own half and sends it out to left-back Lucas Hernandez. He's got Kolo Muani on the left. He'll go over the top looking for Mbappe, but he'll be beaten to it here by Jamal Lascelles, who goes back into his 18-yard box of a ball to Nick Pope, who takes a touch and then clears down the right-hand side. It's too high for Trippier, and it'll go for a PSG throw-in halfway inside the Newcastle half as PSG now look to get forward here and throws it into Mbappe. Can't get the return towards Kolo Muani. It's now fell to Almiron. Ball inside to Guimaraes. He's got options to his left and he'll look to try and set away Gordon. It'll deflect to Tonali off Hakimi. Far left-hand side edge. Plays the ball inside towards Gordon. Gets brought down there by Ugarte. Just inside the Newcastle half. Free kick for the team in black and white. West Ham is the next game for Newcastle away from home before the international break, where they return with a home game against Crystal Palace. And then the next Champions League game they've got is Borussia Dortmund at home for Newcastle United. But it's a free kick here for Trippier, who's come over towards the left-back position to take this free kick. It's just inside their own half here. Newcastle on the left side. It's a high line from PSG, as it'll be floated in towards the edge of the 18-yard box. It'll be headed on by Lascelles towards the far post, where Isak just gets beaten to it there by Donnarumma. And it'll be a ball to be kept into the hands of Donnarumma. There was a well-won header there by Lascelles on the edge of the 18-yard box. He helped it to the left side of the box, where Donnarumma was light on his feet to get there quickly before Isak had the chance to have a shot towards goal. As Ugarte swings a wild boot at the ball and he clears it away for PSG. Throwing for Newcastle, as there are the PSG supporters high up in the stands at St James's Park. It's a hour-and-a-half flight for those travelling from Paris to Newcastle. As for PSG, their next game in the Champions League is home fixture up against AC Milan. Those games taking place in late October. It's Donnarumma here on the edge of the 18-yard box. Goes to his left to Skriniar. Ball forward to Ugarte. Pressed by Tonali, but he works it to right centre-half Marquinhos on the edge of the 18-yard box. Forward to Hakimi. He lays it back off into the Brazilian Marquinhos, who has scored twice against English opposition in the Champions League, Marquinhos, both in the same season, in the 2020-2021 season, scoring against Manchester United and Manchester City. As now Lucas Hernandez plays a ball down the left channel for PSG towards Mbappe. It's cleared away by Jamal Lascelles towards the defensive third of Newcastle. So it's a throw in for PSG, midway inside the Newcastle half. Well dealt with there by captain Jamal Lascelles, who 10 years ago was at Nottingham Forest playing in the Championship. It's amazing what can change in 10 years in a footballer's career. That's Newcastle's win rate in the Champions League in home games is 56%. 5 wins, no draws, and 4 losses. So not a bad record at home in the Champions League. Their last ever Champions League win coming 7,525 days ago on February 26th, 2003. It was a 3-1 win against Bayer Leverkusen at home. Alan Shearer hat-trick. All 3 of his goals coming in the opening 36 minutes. Can someone try and replicate that kind of goal scoring? Maybe the likes of Alexander Isak. As PSG have a throw-in. Again, midway inside their own half with Hakimi to take, as the ball was just cleared there by left-back Dan Burn. And I mean, this is seriously a really, amazing feeling for him. As I mentioned in the build-up, Dan Burn used to be a season ticket holder at the club. He was released at the age of 11. So it was great to see him returning to the club and playing in such occasions like this. As it's won back by Bruno Guimaraes. Zaire Emery gave it away. Alexander Isak, 25 yards away from goal, plays it out to the left here to Anthony Gordon, who's just on the edge of the box here, on the corner of the 18-yard box. He goes back to Dan Burn, ball forward to Sandro Tonali in a left-wing position, tries to feed the run of Dan Burn, but he gets the return off Hakimi as it was deflected off the Moroccan defender. They restart at the back on halfway now with Jamal Lascelles, being pressed here by Kolo Muani. He's able to shift it out quickly towards Kieran Trippier, header won by Lucas Hernandez, and then tried to be clever there. Mbappe on the far left-hand side, tried to chop past Almiron, but he ran out of room, and it'll be a Newcastle throw in here midway inside the Newcastle half, in the PSG half, with Kieran Trippier holding onto the ball. Yet to score in this competition, Kieran Trippier. This is his 32nd appearance in the Champions League for the 33-year-old. That's his back out now to left-back Dan Burn. Ball looking forward for Anthony Gordon, but he made a run inside. Dan Burn played the ball out wide. Bit of a miscommunication there, so ball rolls out for a PSG throw-in. And for PSG, they have won their second group game in the last 10 seasons, scoring 29 goals and only conceding 5. So they do usually tend to win their second game in a group stage, which I found quite an interesting stat to have such a good record on game week 2 in the Champions League. As here is Bruno Guimaraes just inside the Newcastle half, working away from the press of Ugarte and feeding out to the right to Trippier, ball inside to Almiron, still just inside the Newcastle half here. It's Guimaraes again, first time ball around the corner, looking for Alexander Isak. Skriniar has to deal with it, doesn't deal with it. Here's Isak on the right side of the box as he tries to let fly. Free kick's been given against him. A shove on Skriniar there as Isak tried to win the ball off the Slovakian centre half. Yeah, just a hand in the back there, can't quite do that, Alexander Isak. So free kick for PSG, playing out from the back with Marquinhos on the right side of their defence. Goes to right back Hakimi, who's deep inside his own half, dives past the challenge of Gordon, and then lays it off into Ugarte, turns away from Tonali, looking for options, and he finds Ousmane Dembele in the right wing position, forcing himself back towards the right back position, being chased by Dan Burn, as Ousmane Dembele then plays it forward to Zaire Emery. Good play again for here from Newcastle, feeding it out to left to Mbappe. Going across the pitch to the right-hand side and playing a ball out to Hakimi, who's got forward from right-back in the final third here for PSG. Trying to go inside himself, but he goes down the line to Mbappe, who's found himself in a right-wing position here. Completes a 1-2 with Hakimi, but the ball was deflected off Tonali to Ugarte, so possession is kept here for PSG as they have it in the Newcastle half. It's with Kolo Muani on the left. Plays it inside, misplaced ball towards Zaire Emery. It's now found Bruno Guimaraes, who plays it forward to Isak, pokes it into Gordon. Back towards the PSG goal, plays it to Tonali, and forward to Isak in a left wing position here. One-on-one with Hakimi. He's holding the ball up. He drives inside, enters the box, wants to shoot. He will shoot. It deflects off Marquinhos and then cleared by Gonzalo Ramos. And the clearance has been kept alive by Trippier, who nods it forward to Guimaraes, then back to Cher, and then back once more to Nick Pope as Newcastle are the side back in possession again. I'm talking about anniversaries and where some of these plays were 10 years ago. Nick Pope in 2013 played in the National League for Aldershot. So now the 31-year-old, no longer 21, now 31, is playing Champions League football for Newcastle United. What a journey it's been for the 6'3" goalkeeper. taller than that. He's probably about 6'5", Nick Pope. It's Trippier, ball down the line to Longstaff. He's not been on the ball much, Longstaff, but he gets a pass inside towards Almiron, who's driving at the PSG defence. He's been stopped by Lucas Hernandez, and it'll be picked up by Ugarte in the midfield for PSG, but a misplaced ball from Hakimi, picked up by Almiron, 22 yards out. He strikes on the edge of the box, and it's always arrowing over the crossbar. Didn't quite connect like he would have wanted to there, the Paraguayan, Miguel Almiron, who has got 2 goals in his last 2 games in the Premier League. So he's in goal-scoring form, but it was a really poor pass from Hakimi, looking for Zaire Emery. And just on the edge of the centre circle, Almiron let fly, and over the bar it went. And just from the camera shot there, it looks like a very wet St James's Park. It looks like the rain is falling in the stadium that holds just over 52,000 supporters tonight. And Hakimi, long ball forward, picked up by Bruno Guimaraes just inside the PSG half. It's good that PSG are able... it's a good job that Newcastle are winning possession high up the field in the PSG half. Almiron takes it on the turn, pokes it away towards Gordon on the edge of the box, but as he poked it away, he was caught late, and it was a free kick for Newcastle. On the left side, it was good from Almiron, drifting from the right-hand side to the left side. And as he just was releasing the ball towards Anthony Gordon, Lucas Hernandez fouled late. Let's have a look here. Longstaff played it towards Almiron, who'd come across, and it was actually Ugarte who took out Almiron with the slide tackle. Lucas Hernandez was behind him, but it was Ugarte to slide in, get nowhere near the ball and take out Almiron. So free kick for Newcastle on the left-hand side. It's not quite far left. It's inside. It's, I want to say, around 30 or so yards out, maybe just under 28 yards. It would be one hell of a strike from Kieran Trippier. And yes, we have seen him score from these kind of ranges before, but it is asking a lot of Kieran Trippier, who is the man that stood over it. Just over 15 minutes to go. PSG have had the main big chance. Ousmane Dembele is actually 28 metres away from goal. It's a 3-man wall, I believe, for PSG. And it looks like Trippier wants to strike it, and he will strike it with power straight into the wall, and it'll bounce back towards the halfway line, where it'll be Longstaff to help it forward towards Tonali, who headed the ball on 20 yards from goal. But no Newcastle player chased it down, and it was easily caught by Donnarumma as we roll out to Skriniar. Now Marquinhos playing out from the back for PSG, forward into the path of the right back Hakimi, who started 7 of PSG's games last season in the Champions League. It was a disappointing Champions League run for PSG, knocked out in the last 16 by Bayern Munich as a poor ball by Marquinhos. It's now Isak! Great save, Donnarumma! Almiron! Take off at St James's Park! Huge error from PSG's been capitalised on, and Newcastle take the lead. It's a horrific error from PSG captain Marquinhos, and it was a first save that was made by Donnarumma on Isak. It deflected out to Almiron, and on the left foot towards the far corner, he placed it perfectly beyond the Italian goalkeeper, and it gives Newcastle the lead. I was saying before, he scored 2 in his last 2 in the Premier League. Miguel Almiron, he's now scored in the Champions League. They were playing out from the back. Marquinhos in the 18-yard box tried a left-footed dinked ball forward looking for Kolo Muani. It was headed forward by Guimaraes, which was taken on by Alexander Isak on the penalty spot. And his strike was well saved by Donnarumma to his right, but the parried ball fell to the path of Miguel Almiron, a fan favourite at Newcastle United. And the shot couldn't be blocked by Lucas Hernandez. It couldn't be tipped wide by Donnarumma. And as it rattled the back of the net, the crowd erupted, and Newcastle have the lead. Newcastle 1, PSG 0. What a start we have had here at St James's Park. Not many times, but PSG have done that a couple times where they've given the ball away in poor areas, and that was a really bad area, especially from their captain. Trying a lifted ball on the edge of the box was so silly. Then headed forward by Guimaraes, shot by Isak, saved by Donnarumma, and then finished on the rebound by Miguel Almiron. It's Newcastle's first goal on their return to the Champions League, and they want a second here. It's Bruno Guimaraes looking towards the right side. Trippier's making a run in behind, but the pass is blocked by Hernandez, and it rolls out for a throw-in for Newcastle. And the man who scored last in a Newcastle win in the Champions League is in the crowd tonight, of course, Alan Shearer. scored a hat-trick in their last win in the Champions League, as I mentioned before, in late February of 2003 against Bayer Leverkusen. As the only other goal in the Champions League so far has been at Celtic, where Celtic lead Lazio 1-0. Every other game is goalless so far. But it's really positive, the fact that Newcastle are capitalising on these PSG errors, and they've given away again. Ugarte straight to Tonali in the PSG half. Midway inside the opposition half. Tonali goes to the right to goal scorer Almiron, drives inside, tackled by Kolo Muani, taken over by Ugarte, and then played into the path of Zaire Emery, who's got Dembele to his right as he bursts forward into the Newcastle half, into the final third. He plays out to the right to Ousmane Dembele, enters the box, goes on his right foot, plays it across, it's blocked by Lascelles, and it'll roll out back towards Ousmane Dembele on the right, and he will let it roll for a throw-in for PSG, and he'll take it quickly to Hakimi, and he gets the return, then plays it back to Hakimi, tackled strongly by Guimaraes, who again is celebrating that tackle, really getting the crowd going. And the throw-in's been taken by Hakimi, picked up by Tonali. Dembele wasn't even watching. Ball inside, looking towards Isaac on the halfway line, but he's lost out to Skriniar, and PSG work it out to their left side here. Back inside to number 33, 17-year-old midfielder Zaire Emery. Out to the left here to Lucas Hernandez. Now to Mbappe. 1-2 with Kolo Muani. No, can't be seen off there. Guimaraes picks it up, forward to Isaac. Back he goes here to Fabian Schär. Midway inside the Newcastle half. Ball forward to Longstaff. Back into Schär. Out to the left, just inside the PSG half to Gordon. He's not got much support with him. As he looks towards his right. And he'll go back instead to Schär. And he curls it out to the right back here, Kieran Trippier. Down the line he goes to the right to Almiron. Tries a flick inside looking for Guimaraes. Picked up by Skriniar. It's now Ugarte on the ball for PSG. Did struggle to score at the weekend against Clermont-Foot. Away from home, PSG. They drew 0-0 at the weekend. Not even scoring is something for PSG. They had 21 shots, 10 on target, 67% possession, but no goal as Mbappe switches out to the right here to Ousmane Dembele. Tries to take on Dan Burn, wanting to go the long way round Dan Burn, but with his long legs, he won't allow that big slide challenge from the 6'7" left back, and he concedes the throw-in. As again, big celebrations from Newcastle, stopping PSG getting through. And Newcastle will believe they can go far in this competition. Their home support and playing at home will win them so many games with the support that the home team, the home supporters bring. And, you know, they won't be scared of welcoming teams like PSG to St James's Park. As it's with the right back Hakimi. Down the line, looking for Ramos. Gets the return to Hakimi. Now forward to Dembele. Back inside to Hakimi. Driving forward. Driving inside. Looking towards the left. It's Mbappe now. 40 yards from goal. He's looking left to Kolo Muani. Feeds him in the box. 1-on-1 with Trippier. Plays the cross in the box. And on this edge of the 6-yard line, it's Schär to clear. And it'll be picked up here again for PSG by Zaire Emery. As all players for Newcastle bar Isaac are behind the ball. As it's now with left back Lucas Hernandez, who suffered an ACL injury last year, kept him out for the majority of the season. It was picked up in September of last year. Did score before his injury in the Champions League against Barcelona for Bayern Munich. The team that knocked out PSG, but then Bayern Munich were knocked out themselves by eventual winners Manchester City in the quarter-final. Skriniar, ball forward to Zaire Emery, gets away from the challenge of Longstaff. 30 yards from goal. He lets loose! Oh, that is close. Pope dived, didn't get a touch on it, and wide it went. But he's hit that with some force there, Zaire Emery. He just caught it with the outside of his boots. It was always just curling away from goal. It was a bit further than what was once thought from me. About just a few yards wide of the post. But he really hit that hard, the 17-year-old Warren Zaire Emery. Making his 40th appearance for the PSG first team, despite being only 17 years old. He played 31 times for them last year, scoring the 2 league goals, both away from home. Nick Pope takes the goal kick towards Dan Burn, who's got forward from left back, helps it on. But it's Skriniar mixed up with Marquinhos, but he hooks it away a second time. But then helped forward again by Dan Burn. Can't be dealt with here by Ugarte, being pressured by Tonali. And he's won the foul there. Ugarte pulled down by Tonali in a right back position for PSG. And Newcastle still in the lead. 1-0. Miguel Almiron with the goal. In the 17th minute, from a Marquinhos error, the PSG captain giving away the ball in the box. First shot by Isaac was saved. And then the rebound from Almiron was put into the back of the net. as Zaire Emery loses it for PSG. It's now Fabian Schär midway inside the Newcastle half. Ball forward in the centre circle to Almiron, who drifted from the right side to the centre of the park. Loses it with a misplaced pass. It's now with Lucas Hernandez at left back. Try to slip through Mbappe. Intercepted by Kieran Trippier. And plays a ball forward into the PSG half. Into space for Miro Almiron. He's going to be met by Skriniar. Isak's making a run down the right. It gets towards him and he keeps it away from Marquinhos. And plays it backwards to Longstaff, who will just keep possession here for Newcastle. And go back to halfway to Fabian Schär, who clips it out to the right side here to Trippier. Headed inside for Almiron in the box. Marquinhos wanted Donnarumma to come and get it, but it was too far away. And Marquinhos is forced to clear as he was pressed by Almiron. Corner kick for Newcastle. First corner of the game. It comes 25 minutes in. PSG struggling at the moment, despite them having the first big chance of the game early on. But since that chance in around the 5th minute, they've not really created much, not using their attacking power up front correctly so far. It's going to be an outswinger from Trippier on the far side. The big men are up from the back for Newcastle, the likes of Lascelles, Schär, Byrne, low one. Fabian Schär, free for the shot and just wide. Oh, that is a chance. It really is. It was well worked. Fabian Schär left the pack, which he was once in at the start of the corner. He lost his man Skriniar. And as the low ball went in, it was a free strike with the right boot for Schär, who just didn't quite get his foot around it completely, and just went wide of the right corner of the goal. And a goal kick for PSG, which they're playing out from. Tackled by Almiron. Thrown for PSG. Struggling to get out their own half here, the French champions. Throwing down the line. Helped on by Kolo Muani. Picked up by Gonzalo Ramos. Ball forward to Mbappe in the centre circle. Bursting away from Sandro Tonali. Playing it out to the right now to Ousmane Dembele. One-on-one with Dan Burn. Pulling it back towards Mbappe. Goes behind the French winger, but it's picked up by Zaire Emery, who will keep it alive midway inside the Newcastle half and works their way from Guimaraes. Ball out to the left now to Ramos. Edge of the box. Left-footed shot wide. Sure, it took a deflection. I think the corner's been given. Who did it come off? Gonzalo Ramos on loan at the minute from Benfica with an option to buy at the end of the season. Had a shot towards the left-hand side of the goal. It was deflected off Lascelles. Corner taken short. Mbappe on the left towards byline. Cross towards the far post. Runs out of room. Goal kick. Mbappe wants a corner. Let's have a look here. He's one-on-one with Almiron on the left. Going the long way around the Paraguayan, and the cross went in. That should be a corner. Definitely came off the boot of Miguel Almiron. Not quite sure how Newcastle have won the goal kick there, but Eddie Howe will not be complaining. A manager, Eddie Howe, who is managed in League 2 in England, League 1, the Championship, the Premier League, and now the Champions League. It's a real journey for the Newcastle head coach, Eddie Howe, as the Nick Pope goal kick has been played forward by Almiron. Loses out, though, to Skriniar. It's now to left-back Hernandez inside the PSG half. Goes back to Milan Skriniar, who won 5 trophies, while Inter Milan, as Manchester City have taken a lead at RB Leipzig. It's Phil Foden in the 25th minute for the blue side of Manchester, as Kolo Muani here has been fouled late by Kieran Trippier midway inside the Newcastle half there, as Kolo Muani just currently stays down for the moment. The French striker is brought in on deadline day. Played 4 times for Frankfurt at the start of the season. The club he was brought from, scored 3 goals. And for PSG in his opening 4 games, he scored once against Marseille. And played 80 minutes against Dortmund as well. Marquinhos on halfway for PSG. Goes to right back Hakimi. Then back to Marquinhos. As other Champions League results, just the 3 goals. One here at Newcastle. We've got Celtic 1-0 up against Lazio. And City 1-0 up at RB Leipzig. As PSG just still have possession inside their own half. By the way, Newcastle have never recorded back-to-back clean sheets in the Champions League. That might still be a fact at the end of this game, as Gonzalo Ramos entering the box there was tackled strongly by Fabian Schär, who has stayed down after they collided. Looks like he's holding his face here, Fabian Schär. Let's have a look. Yeah, just got caught in the face there by Gonzalo Ramos. as I mentioned before, on loan until the end of the season with an option to buy of €80 million. Made his name in the World Cup. Gonzalo Ramos scoring that hat-trick in the round of 16 in the World Cup was linked as well to Manchester United in the summer before they went for Rasmus Højlund, as Fabian Schär is back to his feet after that collision with Gonzalo Ramos, as it's now with Hakimi. Right back for PSG. His ball played forward is blocked by Gordon, throwing for PSG just inside their own half into Ugarte. Goes back to right back Hakimi. Back inside to Ugarte. He goes towards his own goal to Skriniar. Forward to Zaire Emery. He's allowed time in his own half to turn forward and play out to the left here for Lucas Hernandez. Gets forward from right back, tries to play ball inside towards Mbappe. Loses it to Almiron. Just inside his own half, looks for Longstaff. He will beat Ugarte to it. Not got many options, so goes to his left. It's Dan Burn, who's just 10 yards away from the halfway line. Ball inside looking for Gordon. Picked up by Hakimi. He will drive into the Newcastle half. Dembele pulled back towards the edge of the box. It's picked up by Guimaraes. He will turn away from Zaire Emery. Then play a ball forward to Isak midway inside the Newcastle half. The Newcastle player forced back towards his own goal. Feeds it to Guimaraes. Decides to go long a little bit route one there from Guimaraes. And he loses it. Ball straight through to Donnarumma. No Newcastle player chasing that one down. Newcastle as well have only won 3 of their 13 meetings with French opposition in all competitions. 3 wins, 4 draws and 6 losses as Lazio equalised at Celtic, 1-1 in that one in Group E. Skriniar has it on halfway. To the right to Ugarte in the centre circle. Back out far left now to Lucas Hernandez, who you might have seen on social media was met by a sign by the PSG Ultras saying you are not welcome and we'll let you know, as he has links to PSG's fierce rivals Marseille. Hernandez was born in Marseille and his dad played for them in the 1990s, so not the greatest of starts to his PSG career, Lucas Hernandez, in terms of the reception he got from the supporters, but he has started their first 6 games of the last 7 games of the season. He was on the bench though in the last one in their away draw 0-0 at Clermont-Foot at the weekend. That's Jesus and Dembele drifting over to the left-hand side and playing it to the left to Lucas Hernandez. Ball out wide furthest is Kolo Muani. Inside to Zaire Emery. It's now Ugarte, centre of the field. Ball forward to Ramos. Flicks it towards Dembele. Cleared on the edge of the box by Schär. Helped on by Isak, but it'll be redistributed now by Marquinhos of PSG to the left to Hernandez. Finds Zaire Emery. Then back it goes to Milan Skriniar. As last season in the Champions League, PSG finished second in the group to Benfica, who they drew home and away, 1-1-2. Skriniar out to the left to Mbappe, forward to Zaire Emery. Can't get the return to Mbappe, cut out by Kieran Trippier. Now inside to the left to Guimaraes, passes the halfway line, forward to Isak, who's drifting towards the Newcastle right, bullied off the ball by Ramos and Skriniar, and it'll be tackled Lucas Hernandez there by Alexander Isak. Definitely caught the French fullback late there, the Swedish striker. It looks like they're both in a little bit of pain. Skriniar and Ugarte won the ball off of Isak, and as he went to chase it down to win it back, he took out Hernandez late. And it's actually Hernandez back to his feet first, and it's Isak who has stayed down, and that's not great for Newcastle United because Callum Wilson's not in the matchday squad tonight due to a hamstring injury, and on the bench they just quite simply haven't got a striker to replace him. They've got some attackers on the bench like Elliot Anderson, who's an attacking midfielder, and Jacob Murphy, who's on the right, who's a right winger, with actually blood to the head of Alexander Isak. How has he drawn blood? I'd have to see another replay, but Isak is drawing blood to the head. So not quite sure how. So that's probably why he's in pain, and that can be bandaged up, which will be a plus for Newcastle. As it was his shot that was saved by Donnarumma. He got down well to save it, but then he couldn't get up quick enough and get to the second shot by Almiron, who placed it into the bottom left corner. Unbelievable finish by Almiron with the pressure on his shoulders. of having the chance to put Newcastle 1-0 up against PSG at home in the Champions League, but it was expertly taken by the Paraguayan, and that was his 28th goal for Newcastle on his 174th appearance for the club. Been at the club for over 4.5 years now. Joined from Atlanta in January 2019, as Isak is still just being treated there for the cut on his head. Can't quite see a replay again, so not really sure how the blood was drawn, as Eddie Howe is giving out information here to Sandro Tonali. One of their few summer signings they made, 5 of them in total. He was one of them, signed from AC Milan. AC Milan fan, Sandro Tonali. And I mentioned in my last Newcastle commentary, but in case you weren't there, people like to compare him to the likes of Gattuso. And he has said that Gerrard and Modric has influenced his game the most. Sandro Tonali, fantastic box-to-box midfielder. He's also yet to score in any European competition. So Isak has stayed down here. He continues to receive treatment here, as it was him who fouled Lucas Hernandez, but maybe on the way down he caught a stud in the face by accident. I'm really not sure how this cut on the head's been picked up by Isak, but really hoping he is okay, as he just sat up there, which met by a round of applause. And in terms of appearance makers in the Champions League for Newcastle, their leading appearance maker is Shay Given, with 20 appearances, 14 in the actual competition, 6 in qualifying. Top goal scorer is Alan Shearer with 7, 6 in the proper Champions League, and then 1 in qualifying as well. As Isak's been bandaged up, he looks okay. I think he'll be able to continue, which is a big plus for Newcastle United and Eddie Howe. Still 0-0 in the other group game between Dortmund and AC Milan, as the man signed from Real Sociedad is going to be able to continue, which is a very good thing for Eddie Howe, as we restart now with PSG at the back, with Lucas Hernandez at left back. Ball forward to Mbappe, plays it back into Lucas Hernandez, chip ball down the line, looking for the return to Mbappe. It's cut out though by Kieran Trippier in the defensive third for Newcastle, and plays it across to Tonali. Well dummied by Guimaraes, and now Tonali can play it out to the left to Gordon. Here he is, down the left, in the final third, one-on-one with Marquinhos, who's drifted over to a right back area. And he plays out to the right, Gordon, as he drove inside, but it's cut out by Lucas Hernandez. Played to Kolo Muani, stopped by the brick wall of Jamal Lascelles, as Bruno Guimaraes is then pushed to the ground just inside the PSG half there by Kolo Muani. Free kick for Newcastle. Well won there by the Brazilian Bruno Guimaraes, who in his time over in France with Lyon, he only beat PSG 1 time in 6, losing 4 of them. So it's a high line here for Newcastle to have to beat Trippier with it. It's about 15 yards into the PSG half, so it's quite the way from goal, but definitely a chance just to get a ball into the box. Trippier curls it towards the far post, nearly brought down by Isak, cleared by Hakimi, forced the left back Dan Burn, who's running out of room on the left side, but he gets it down the line towards Sandro Tonali. It's just been seen away for a throw in there. Couldn't quite keep it in there, the Italian, but it's a throw in deep in the PSG half in their right back area with Achraf Hakimi, formerly of Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan. Decent CV for Hakimi, as he's lifted ball forward into the Newcastle half, looking for Dembele. He's been dealt with by Fabian Schär. Then out to the right back here, Trippier by Nick Pope. Down the line to Almiron. It's in behind. He finds the Paraguayan driving onto his left foot. He's been clipped from behind by Lucas Hernandez, and that'll be a free kick. And the yellow card comes out for Lucas Hernandez. When he signed for Bayern Munich, Lucas Hernandez, in 2019, he became the 6th most expensive defender ever for 80 million euros. He was then signed for 40 million euros by PSG this summer. He's having a bit of a torrid time out there against the likes of Isak when he drifts over to the right-hand side, and Almiron as well. So free kick for Newcastle on the right-hand side. Almiron helped up by Mbappe. So just over 38 minutes in, Newcastle still lead 1-0 through that man, Almiron, who's just hobbling away from the situation. It's on the right side of the box here. It's a decent angle. Usually you'd let a left footer take this one, but when you've got Kieran Trippier on the pitch, then you let him take them. So it's definitely a chance for a shot for Trippier. You could either cross it as well into the box. He's got options here, the Newcastle vice-captain. Here's Trippier. Edge of the box. Winds up. 4 across towards Jamal Lascelles. It comes off his hand, but there's a not dealt with. Play continues. Guimaraes on the left side of the box. Shoots near post. Saved by Donnarumma. Back to Guimaraes. Lifts it. Dan Burn! What a save! Not over the line. Is it? Offside. Honestly, that was unbelievable. So, when the cross went in there from Trippier, when Lascelles headed it forward, it definitely came off his hand, but I don't think the referee saw. So if any goal had happened there, it would have been disallowed. But Lascelles won the header with a handball. Then Agate couldn't clear it, nearly put it into his own net. That was saved by Donnarumma. Then it came out to Guimaraes, who shot near post. That was saved by the goalkeeper. Then returned to Guimaraes, who then dinked it out to the far post. Dan Burn, who headed it into the net, I think. But there was an offside flag given anyway. A lot was going on there, to be completely honest. That Dan Burn header from the Guimaraes cross definitely went over the line. But for me, in the build-up, Jamal Lascelles definitely handled the ball. I'm not even sure if there was an offside, but I don't think anyone could be offside because Guimaraes was right towards the byline. So it would have took someone to have been in a strange position to be offside. Well, they're saying when Guimaraes had that shot at the near post, Tonali then gave it back to Guimaraes, who then put it to the far post to Dan Burn, who then headed it into the back. Well, it definitely went in. They've just showed an angle there. It's over the line. But this should really stand. If that handball's not given on Lascelles, the goal should stand. Because when Tonali pokes it back out left to Guimaraes, who went for the cross instead of the shot for the second attempt, he was onside. Dan Burn fairly won the header on Milan Skriniar. But for me, Lascelles definitely handled the ball there. In that, the initial first cross from Trippier from the free kick, Jamal Lascelles definitely handled the ball. But if they're not looking at that and they didn't see it as handball, then this should be a goal. I don't really see why it shouldn't be. No one's offside from the looks of it. Dan Burn's header went over the line, despite Donnarumma saving it from hitting the back of the net. But I was just certain, when first thing I saw was the fact that Lascelles handled the ball, for me, personally. The referee didn't give it. As the goal check continues for VAR, this has taken a while. The VAR is Marco Fritz, the German. And the wait continues. This is ridiculous. What are they looking at? Because I had one look and he wasn't offside for me. There's confusion around St James's Park here. As the referee blows the whistle and VAR have given the goal. Newcastle double their lead and it is Dan Burn, born and bred in Newcastle. He scores for his boyhood club in the Champions League against PSG to put them 2 goals to the good. The referees had to brandish out a yellow card for a PSG man after their reaction to the goal being given. It was absolute chaos in the PSG 18-yard box, and it's resulted in a Newcastle goal through none other than Dan Burn. They're showing again the cross, and it looks like it comes off Hakimi and Lascelles' hand. So it looks like a bit of both. And as Agate nearly put it into his own goal, it was saved by Donnarumma, who clawed it out of goal. Fell to Tonali, worked it back out to Guimaraes, who crossed to the far post as Dan Burn headed in. Beyond that white line, it didn't hit the back of the net. But it shows here Guimaraes well onside as he was given the ball by Tonali for that cross to go in. And after mass confusion and a long time to decide whether that's a goal or not, we have a 2-0 lead for Newcastle. And it had to be Dan Burn. released at the age of 11, was a supporter of the club as a boy. He now returns to the club, playing in Champions League, scoring against PSG. What a story for Dan Burn. It's his fourth goal for the club. It's his third goal for the club. Apologies, he's got 4 in the Premier League. As it's now Tonali heading it inside to Dan Burn, gets the return, and Tonali volleys it into the box towards the far post. Headed on by Hernandez, falls to Trippier, plays it out to the right now to Almiron. Gets the return to Trippier, who crosses it out of play. Couldn't quite keep it in there, the full-back. Goal kick for PSG. That was absolute confusion. I still don't know who handled that ball. It was Achraf Hakimi to pick up the yellow card for the French side. But at half-time, we'll have another look at that cross just to see who handled that ball. Because I was sure it was Lascelles, but it looked like on other replays they both handled it. So, you know, who do you give the free kick to when both handle it at the same time? As Lascelles clears for Newcastle straight up to Isak, who holds it up momentarily, but he gives it away. Out of play for a throw-in for PSG in front of their technical area here on the near side, as we're going to get a healthy bit of added time here, I reckon, after that VAR check. As the throw-in has gone to Ugarte, turns to Tonali and goes back to Skriniar. Marquinhos forward to Ugarte, deep inside the PSG half. Newcastle press high. As we've got 10 seconds to go of the 45, as we'll find out added time quickly. Marquinhos out to right back Hakimi. Really good press here from Newcastle. Goes to his left here to Ugarte. We have 7 minutes of time added on here at St James's Park. Zaire Emery out to left back Hernandez, just in front of the halfway line for PSG in the Newcastle half. He goes back to Zaire Emery, who turns away from Longstaff. Back out to the left here to Hernandez. Plays the ball to his right to Zaire Emery. Back he goes to Skriniar. Then out wide right to Hakimi. They are unbeaten away from home in the league so far, PSG. But they are trailing here at Newcastle in the Champions League. Ugarte, ball forward to Dembele, works out to the right Hakimi, who's got forward from full-back, tries to go to his left here to Ramos, who's been caught late there by Longstaff. Free kick for PSG on the right side. It's a bit too wide for a shot, but it's a really good angle for a cross here for the French side. Gonzalo Ramos just getting his left foot to the ball ahead of Sean Longstaff to win the free kick. And a goal for PSG would be huge before half-time to get them back in this game. Ousmane Dembele stood over it. So is Achraf Hakimi. Furthest right is Zaire Emery, who's just an option here on the right flank for PSG. PSG have scored 12 in their last 5 games, so they do know where the net is, but they did fail to score at the weekend in a 0-0 draw. As we played a minute and a half of the 7 added on. It's Newcastle 2, PSG 0. It's a free kick here on the right side. It will be Dembele to cross. It's a teasing one, and it's punched away by Pope to the edge of the box, where it's regained by Ugarte for PSG. Try to dribble his way around Guimaraes as he finds himself in a length wing position as Newcastle win the throw-in. Ugarte tackled by Trippier, and it came off the Uruguayan last for a throw-in for the English side. But what a moment for Dan Burn. It's his second goal of the season. He scored the second goal at Sheffield United in the 8-0 win. Trippier gets the return from the throw-in and clears up the field. Chested down by Skriniar, and it's now played back to the halfway line to Marquinhos by Ugarte. Hakimi on the right. Ball straight forward, looking for Mbappe on the edge of the 18-yard box. It's away from the Frenchman, and it can be seen through to Nick Pope by Fabien Cher. Good defending from the Geordie side. It's played out to right back Trippier. Lifted ball curling in towards the centre of the park. Brought down well by Almiron. Completes a 1-2 with Tonali. Then out to the left now to Gordon. Great link-up play here from Newcastle. Gordon driving inside. Trip from behind by Hakimi. And it'll be a free kick for Newcastle about 10 yards into the PSG half. Just have to be careful. Hakimi, he's on a booking. The Moroccan fullback. Just pulling and clipping Gordon from behind there. The 24-year-old right back. 3 minutes of the 7 added on. Played. It's Trippier on the left side. It's a far one. About 40-50 yards away from goal. But again, it's a good chance to clip one towards the edge of the box. Try and cause a bit more confusion for PSG as he'll glide one out to the right. Lascelles with a free chance to chest the ball down, but the touch is poor, and it'll be a goal kick. Just got away from him there. The touch by Lascelles, and Agate could see behind. Manuel Agate, who's in the midfield for PSG, who's getting on the ball quite a lot. He was wanted by Arsenal and Liverpool before making his summer move to PSG. As on the edge of the box here, it's Zaire Emery, loses out though, but it's won. Back by PSG, the tackle by Tonali went straight into the path of Kolo Muani. He goes out to the right now to Ousmane Dembele. Final third, enters the box on the right side, plays it right through. It's dealt with by Lascelles. It'll go for a corner for PSG. Dembele with a low ball in towards the 6-yard box, and it had to be dealt with there by Newcastle captain. As we've got 3 minutes left to play of the first half. Ousmane Dembele is on this near side to take the corner with his right foot. It's an outswinger towards the 6-yard box, the near post. Header won by Alexander Isak. He'll run through for a PSG throw-in. Still deep into the Newcastle half. They'll fancy trying to half the deficit here. As it's thrown back to the halfway line to Zaire Emery. Across the left to Agate. That's our Skriniar. It's now out to left back Lucas Hernandez, who did feature in the final for Atletico Madrid in the Champions League in 2016, where they lost to Real Madrid at the San Siro on penalties. As PSG are just having possession in their own half. Mbappe's dropped deep for the ball here towards the halfway line, drives forward, plays it down the line here for Kolo Muani, and makes a run forward here. Mbappe tries to feed it to him, and it deflects off Longstaff last as he put the slide challenge in. Corner for PSG. On the far side this time, Mbappe's over it, who takes it short to Ousmane Dembele, new PSG's number 10. Mbappe, one-on-one with Gordon here, towards the byline, gets the cross in, Ramos strikes. Corner. Left-footed shot away. Deflected behind for a corner there by Gonzalo Ramos. Good ball by Mbappe. Just deflected last off a Newcastle man. So another chance to get the ball in the box here for PSG. Ousmane Dembele this time. It won't be a short one. It'll be an in-swinger. Into the box. It's a deep one. Looking towards Mbappe at the far post, whose touch is poor, and it'll drop to the edge of the box to Guimaraes. Byrne will drive forward, and he finds him, the Brazilian. Byrne into the path down the left side, and Tonali will get there. Charging forward in the left wing position. Looking to get into the box if possible. He squares it into the box, and play's been stopped. The cross was dealt with by Skriniar, but Agate was down holding the back of his head. As everyone was rushing forward there. PSG rushing back. Newcastle rushing forward. As the Romanian referee, Istvan Kovacs, will book Guimaraes, catching Agate on the back of the head. Let's have a look here as they were marauding forward. Guimaraes almost smacked Agate. That's shocking. You can't do that. Guimaraes was bursting forward because he was part of that attack down the left side with Byrne and Tonali. That's absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe what I've just seen. He just smacked him in the back of the head. I think Guimaraes is quite lucky to get away with a booking there. Just swung his arm in the back of Agate's head. Like, why? Absolutely bizarre as the ball goes long for PSG from the free kick that they've won. And that's where play will be stopped for half time. We've played a total of 52 minutes in this first half with 7 minutes added on. And Newcastle have found themselves 2 goals to the good. It's Newcastle 2, PSG 0. First big chance of the game did fall into the feet of Ousmane Dembele. And PSG, it was an Mbappe cross from the left to the far post, and Ousmane Dembele was allowed to volley at the far post. Dan Burn wasn't getting close enough, and it was just going towards the bottom left corner, but it just went wide for Ousmane Dembele. And then the goal for Newcastle came in the 17th minute. It was a shocking error from Marquinhos, trying to play out from the back on the edge of his 18-yard box. He tried to dink a ball into midfield. It was headed forward by Guimaraes. It was shot by Isak on the penalty spot, which was saved by Donnarumma. And on the rebound, on the right side, entered Almiron, who shot across goal at the far post and put it in for 1-0 for Newcastle United. It's been very lacklustre from PSG. They have had half chances at most, nothing to really write home about, and then Newcastle doubled their lead, 39th minute, Dan Burn with the goal. It was a huge weight on VAR The cross from Trippier looked like there was a hand used by Lascelles. That was waved away. Then they were checking offside by Guimaraes as he was given the ball by Tinali after Guimaraes had a shot at the near post saved by Donnarumma. And on the second time of asking, instead of shooting again, he decided to cross to the far post. And that header was well won by 6'7" Dan Burn, who got above Milan Skriniar to head beyond that white line. It was saved by Donnarumma. He didn't let it hit the back of the net, but he went past that line. And it counted as a goal after a long VAR check. It doubled Newcastle's lead 2-0 at home against PSG. No real chances on the end of that half. Guimaraes picked up a booking right at the end, and it looks like he might have been quite lucky to get away with just a booking as he hit the back of Ugarte's head with his arm. But at half-time, at St James's Park, it's Newcastle 2, PSG 0. And just as well to say, Dan Burn scored the goal in the 39th minute, and the goal was given in the 42nd, so 3-4 minute check for that goal. But it seems like VAR got to the right conclusion at the end. And as I mentioned, 2-0 to Newcastle at half-time. What a game so far. If you're enjoying, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll go through the other scores at half-time in a minute. That's Almiron and Burn with the goals to put Newcastle on 4 points out of 6 to start their Champions League campaign as they drew their first one 0-0 at the San Siro to AC Milan. So we'll go through the half-time scores in the other games. Red Star Belgrade lead Young Boys by 1 goal to 0. Dortmund AC Milan, the other game in this group, is currently 0-0 at the Signal Iduna Park. Of course, here is 2-0 to Newcastle against PSG. Leipzig still trail 1-0 to Manchester City. A Phil Foden goal in the 25th minute has given Manchester City a 1-0 lead in Germany. Porto are trailing to Barcelona just before half-time, 46th minute of the game. Ferran Torres with the goal, who came off the bench for Lewandowski, which isn't a great sign that the Polish international has been subbed off. He's usually one who doesn't really get struck by injury, Robert Lewandowski. But Ferran Torres has come off the bench and scored, so you can't ask for much more. And at Celtic Park, it is Celtic 1, Lazio 1. Kyogo with the opener for Celtic in the 12th minute, and they were pegged back 1-1 by Matthias Vecino. I don't know how you say that name, I apologise. For Lazio, I think it's Vecino to make it 1-1. And the two early games were both 3-2 as well. The 6 kickoffs. Atletico Madrid beat Feyenoord at home by 3 goals to Morata with 2, Griezmann with 1 before half time, and Royal Antwerp were beaten by 2 goals to 3 by Shakhtar Donetsk. And Royal Antwerp took the lead as well in that one, 2-0, and Shakhtar Donetsk have come from behind to win that game 3-2. Got some championship results as well, which I'll go through as well while we're going through our time, and we're waiting to have a look for the replays for that second goal for Newcastle. Currently still showing adverts, so we'll just wait to get another look just to see if that goal should have stood or not, with the likes of the handball and the offsides and everything in between that happened during that passage of play for the second goal. So Leicester, who we commentated on Sunday, their win at Blackburn, they are drawing 0-0 at home to Preston, as that is Leicester now go back to first place and Preston are now second. And now third, so big game in the Championship there. Swansea Norwich is 1-1. Leeds lead QPR by 1 goal to 0 at home. Crescencio Somerville with that one for Leeds. Sunderland lead Watford at home 1-0. Niall Huggins with the goal just before half time. Coventry Blackburn is 0-0. And Rotherham Bristol City is also goalless at half time. So there they are, half time scores around the ground in Europe and in England. As we again just wait for these replays to come through for this second goal, just to try and get to the bottom of it, as Dan Burn had his goal allowed after a long wait, but it was eventually given by VAR, Marco Fritz. So let's see if we can try and unpick this second goal. whenever they want to show it us. Because it will. I thought Lascelles handballed it, but then on the second go, it did look like they both handballed it. Hakimi, I think it was Hakimi. I don't know who was going for that. I think it was Hakimi going for it, and Lascelles. So there is Newcastle's leading Champions League appearance maker, including qualifying, Shay Given. So here's the first goal. Marquinhos in his 18-yard box. A left-footed, lifted ball looking towards Kolo Muani was intercepted by the head of Guimaraes, straight into the path of Isak, who had a strike saved by Donnarumma on the penalty spot. And then on the right, Almiron came in and put in the rebound into the bottom left corner, avoiding the block, or attempted block of Hernandez and the attempted save from Donnarumma. Really well placed by Almiron to open up the body, to put it in the back of the net. Good interception as well by Guimaraes. Good midfield play, pressing up high on the edge of the 18-yard box. Isak had a powerful strike saved, and then first time Almiron, really, really good finish. And Mbappe isn't happy. But Mbappe, he's not a happy boy. He might find himself in Newcastle soon with their takeover. They might fancy putting in a bid for Mbappe. And here's the second goal. It was an absolute mess in terms of a PSG point of view. It really is. Really good lifted ball by Guimaraes, and Dan Burn just got the ball over the line with his header. Let's have a look. Far post, Hakimi and Lascelles. For me, that just comes off Lascelles' hand, personally. As it came off Lascelles' hand, Ugarte nearly put it in his own goal, just lifting the ball forward, backwards. I think the Uruguayan just panicked. Donnarumma parried it off his line, straight into the path of Tonali, who poked it back out to Guimaraes, whose then cross was then converted in by Dan Burn. But for me, I just think that's handball. And I mean, I could be just talking absolute rubbish, and my eyes might be playing me, but it just looks like a handball. I'm going to go to my trusted source of Twitter to see if anyone's saying anything on that. And it looks like Leicester have taken the lead as well against Preston North End. Dewsbury Hall with back-to-back goals because he scored at the weekend against Blackburn. Let's try and have a look, because I don't know. I just think it's handball. Can't quite see anything at the minute. Yeah, I can't see an opinion if it was handball or not. I really don't know. I thought it was. At one angle it looks like they both handle it. It wasn't a purposeful handle of the ball or anything. It was more just the fact that they were both jumping for it and it just knocked off each other's hand. Kind of went under them. Do you know what I mean? So it's a hard one. But Newcastle will not care in the slightest at all, and I don't blame them at all because the goal's been given. But as a neutral, you've got to try and get to the bottom of why decisions were given, certain ways. But that Guimaraes shot as well at the near post, by the way, that was a good save by Donnarumma. She made good saves, Donnarumma, in the build-up to both goals, but it just wasn't really helped by his defence. I mean, in fairness, even though Milan Skriniar is 6'2" and a bit of a unit, he won't win many headers on Dan Burn, who is 6'7". So, I'm not going to be too harsh on Skriniar there for not winning the header on Dan Burn, but just the whole free kick was just absolute. It was mayhem. There was shouts for handball, then offside, and then was the ball over the line? The ball was over the line, and the goal was given. As we'll get back underway in the second half in a couple of minutes' time. Obviously, we overran the first half by 7 minutes because 7 minutes were added on due to that VAR check taking so long. But just definitely didn't want to get the decision wrong. The VAR. So a lot of the other Champions League games have kicked off. Dortmund, Milan, AC Milan still 0-0. Celtic Lazio restarted 1-1 in that one. as the second half will be getting underway ever so soon. Can PSG turn it around? They don't really have many good attacking options to bring on. Like, they've got the best out there already in the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Gonzalo Ramos, Randall Kolo Muani, Kylian Mbappe. But just to reel off some Mbappe stats, because, like, why not? Because at 24, it's just ridiculous. He's got 220 goals in his previous 267 appearances for PSG. He's their all-time leading top goal scorer. He's got 41 goals in 62 Champions League appearances, 35 of them coming for PSG. And he's also scored 26 goals in 35 group stage appearances for PSG. 26 goals in 38 if you include the 3 appearances he made in the group stage for Monaco without a goal. Last season, 29 league goals in 34 appearances, 7 goals in 8 Champions League appearances, no goals in the last 16 though against Bayern Munich, but he was on the bench for the first leg, injured, so even though they were knocked out by Bayern Munich last year, PSG in the last 16, they were without a fully fit Kylian Mbappe, which probably would have halted their cause to progress into the next round. But he's just an unbelievable footballer, Kylian Mbappe. He's looking for his 30th goal in the calendar year for PSG. It looked like he may have been leaving the club in the summer after he was put with the reserves, after he tried to force a move out of the club, looking to try and move to Real Madrid, and then Saudi Arabia were knocking as well, trying to take him away for the season, but things were forgiven, and he's now back in the PSG team, and his team are losing pretty badly, and thing is as well, 3 of PSG's last 4 losses in Champions League group stage games, 3 of the last 4 they've lost have come to English opposition, to Liverpool, Manchester United and Manchester City. So when they do face English opposition in the Champions League, they do tend to sometimes struggle, and they're definitely struggling tonight. Newcastle have been absolutely fantastic. Yeah, but I'm seeing here now that some people are starting to say that was definitely handball. I thought it was. But I mean, I don't. I mean, it wasn't a deliberate handball. That they both went to head the ball like that, and as their arms are out through jumping, the ball's, as they've headed it, it's just headed down into the hand. It's not purpose. It's not like he's controlled it with his hand or anything like that. But it did come off his hand. So I mean, with the handball rule these days, I don't think anyone has a clue what's right and what's wrong. I certainly don't. Anyway, I know I think Thomas Frank, or was it Steve Cooper, either the Brentford or the Forest manager, they said as well that they just have no idea. And when Premier League managers, I know this is Champions League, but the fact that Premier League managers don't know the handball rule, it's just like, just a bit, it tells you something's wrong. As both sides are now starting to re-emerge from the tunnel, as it is Newcastle 2, PSG 0, and they've been absolutely fantastic, pressing PSG high. And PSG, I think, wanted to try and get at Newcastle's defence, because on paper it isn't the strongest for Champions League. Dan Burn and Jamal Lascelles, I think they were just trying to target their back line, and that means they've lost a man in midfield, like you can see on screen with the 4-4-2 they've gone with PSG. And that extra man in midfield for Newcastle has literally been the difference. It's why they've scored the 2 goals, really. Being able to put so much pressure on PSG, having that extra man in the middle to press them up high and win the ball. That's what they've been doing, winning the ball in the PSG half, which has worked wonders for Newcastle and Eddie Howe. As the second half is about to get underway, Newcastle kicking left to right, PSG right to left, as they've got some comeback that they need to try and pull off at St James's Park, as it's been headed away by Hernandez for a Newcastle throw-in midway inside the PSG half. So we're just going to get the timer underway here, as Trippier has the ball in his hands for the throw-in throws it to Longstaff, down the line to Miguel Almiron, ball to the left, looking for Isaac, well won back by Agate, dinked forward by Hernandez, looking for Ramos, heads it back into his own half to Zaire Emery to keep the ball for PSG. Now Ousmane Dembele taking on Dan Burn and driving towards the PSG left. He lays it off to Agate. He'll go back out to the right to Mbappe. He's dropped deeper for the ball here. Quite the way from goal as it's Agate on the edge of the centre circle in the Newcastle half for the French side. They are forced back into their own half here by Skriniar. Goes across to captain Marquinhos, who gave the ball away for Newcastle's first, as it's now Skriniar on the ball. As Newcastle will probably have to do some defending this half, as PSG will not let this game go too easily. They didn't lose last season in the group stages, PSG, winning 4 and drawing 2. Obviously, they did fall to a defeat away from home at Bayern Munich in the second leg of their last 16 tie against the German champions. Ousmane Dembele, pickpocketed by Bruno Guimaraes in the centre circle. Long step out to Almiron on the right. Now out to Trippier. Ball forward, in behind. Almiron can't get away from Lucas Hernandez. It was then swept up and won back by PSG through Skriniar. And it's now with Donnarumma in the 18-yard box. Out to right centre-back. Marquinhos, short ball on the edge of the box towards Agate. He just about gets there, though, ahead of Longstaff. And he was brought to the ground there by Longstaff. Ugarte. So free kick for PSG to get away with that. Marquinhos with a short ball to the Uruguayan. But he was able to shift it on, but fouled in the process either way. As Hakimi lets the ball run under his foot from Donnarumma. Thrown for Newcastle, deep in the PSG half. I think they're just struggling with the atmosphere, the French side. I think they really are. And by the way, they've had an abysmal last few campaigns in the Champions League. PSG knocked out last season in the last 16. The season before that, they were knocked out in the last 16 as well. Before that, they'd had a decent little run as well. Semi-final in 2021, beaten by Manchester City. Got to the final in the COVID season, beaten by Bayern Munich. But the last few years, while they've had Messi, they ended up with 2 last 16 finishes. As it's now with Kolo Muani, midway inside the Newcastle half. Just drifting out towards the left side. The Frenchman. It's now with another Frenchman, Mbappe. He's not got many options at all. He'll lay it off to his right here to Zaire Emery. As PSG look to attack the right side. And here it goes out now to Dembele. Everything to his left here. The former Barcelona winger. It's now Hakimi. To his left is Zaire Emery. Forward to Ramos. Completes the 1-2 with Zaire Emery. Back to Ramos again. Feeds it out to the right to Ousmane Dembele. Needs to get a crossing. Pulls it back. Comes off Longstaff. Deflects off Burn. It'll roll out for a PSG throw-in in the final third here. As they want to try and equalise. They need 2 goals. They want to try and get halfway there by scoring the first tonight in the second half. PSG. Has been forced all the way back from that throw into left back Hernandez, who drives forward beyond Almiron, and he enters the Newcastle half, and he lays it off out wide left to Kolo Muani, overruns it slightly, and his pass is deflected off Longstaff, back to Skriniar on the PSG halfway line. Hakimi. Out to the right now to Dembele. 10 yards inside the Newcastle half. Goes inside again to Hakimi. Misplaced pass. Won back by Guimaraes. Played forward to Isaac. Out wide left it goes to Gordon, who's tackled well by Brazilian Marquinhos, who plays forward himself to Zaire Emery. Now Ramos. Trying to lay it back off into towards Zaire Emery, but he's tackled by a slide challenge from Fabian Schär towards halfway. And it's now Guimaraes to drive away with it. The former Lyon midfielder. Tackled though by Marquinhos. Back in possession for PSG again with a ball forward to Kolo Muani. And he misplaces another pass, and Newcastle win it back. The PSG passing has been nothing short of absolutely abysmal at times here. As Almiron charging down the right. Lays it off to Trippier, who's got forward from right back, through the gap, into the box. Longstaff! The Geordie boys just keep on scoring. Longstaff, joined at the age of 9, scores for Newcastle in the Champions League at the age of 25. What a journey for the midfielder, and what a night for Newcastle. It's so well worked. It comes once again from a misplaced, sloppy ball from PSG, picked up by Newcastle, worked out to the right-hand side, and the main ball which penetrated the PSG defence was through Kieran Trippier, who just has that added quality. It was worked out to the right by Fabian Schär, who found Almiron. The furthest out wide was Trippier. He had everything to his left, and he found a gap in the midfield and defence of PSG to play a ball forward into the right side of the box to Longstaff, who likes to make those attacking runs into the box. And on the right side, it's quite a tight angle, and it just goes under the Italian Donnarumma. He will be kicking himself as he got a good strong right hand to it, but it went right underneath him, and it bulged the back of the net. And for Newcastle United and Eddie Howe, it is Newcastle 3, PSG 0. And 2 Newcastle fans have scored goals. Dan Burn in the first half and Sean Longstaff in the second. What a game. Many great stories being written in front of us. And it's 3-0. The last time Newcastle won a Champions League game was in 2003. Over 7,500 days ago. And now they're playing PSG off the park in their own backyard. Luis Enrique, the head coach of PSG, will be scratching his head. He is a Champions League winner himself as a manager. Luis Enrique in 2015 with Barcelona. But he can't get his side playing here. Mbappe, heavy touch, loses it out to Bruno Guimaraes on halfway. Played forward by Longstaff to Isak, who's found himself in a right wing position. Try to take on Skriniar, it deflects across to Zaire Emery. Good tackle there by Skriniar, who now has it now for PSG and plays out to his left back, Hernandez. It's now to Skriniar, forward to Zaire Emery, who's been allowed to turn here, the 17-year-old midfielder. Yet to have a shot on target tonight, PSG. It's just inside their own half here with Marquinhos. Last season for PSG, they were first in the league for the entire year. They'd never dropped from top of the league. Currently, they sit 5th with 12 points from 7. 3 wins, 3 draws and a loss. So just not everything quite clicking for PSG under their new head coach Luis Enrique, and with their huge amount signed. They brought 30 new players in PSG. And 5-6 of them start tonight. Kolo Muani on the left. That came off his foot last. Throwing for Newcastle midway inside their own half. Tried to drive inside there, Kolo Muani. He was tackled by Longstaff. And as it came off Longstaff, it deflected back off Kolo Muani. For a throw-in. Just very nice moment there. It looks like a young Newcastle fan. He looked about 8 or 9 years old, in conversation with what looked like his granddad. I don't want to be offensive to him if he's younger than that, but just a nice embrace, both smiling widely as they rightly should. What a night for Newcastle as they give away a free kick here through Sandro Tonali. It was Ramos who received the ball from a heavy Tonali touch, and as he tried to regain the ball, the Italian, it just clipped Ramos, and it's a free kick for PSG on the left-hand side here, just on the edge, about 25 yards out. Maybe a bit more, 28 yards. It's quite away from goal, so it would take a hell of a strike to score. So it's probably better to cross the ball here for Newcastle, because they've got height in the box for sure. As Hakimi and Dembele stood over it, both right-footed options. With Dembele to curl across, and it'll take a touch through off Milan Skriniar, who I think was offside. It'll be a free kick for Newcastle, who find themselves 3 goals up. Just under 10 minutes into the second half. I think Skriniar had just edged himself offside, as he did get a touch towards goal from the cross, but it had gone wide of the post anyway. As PSG are going to make a change, and it looks like it is going to be Bradley Barcola, who was played at wing back at the weekend as PSG tried a 3 at the back formation, but he can play on the left wing. He was signed for €45 million from Lyon on the 31st of August. And here's Newcastle getting forward. Dan Burn from full-back in the final third towards the byline. Wants to drive inside, stopped by Marquinhos. And now it's played to Ramos. Now forward to the right to Dembele. Tries a ball across. Can't quite find Ramos. Picked up by Guimaraes. He then loses out in the PSG half of a misplaced pass towards the left-hand side. It's now out to the PSG left to Lucas Hernandez, who's got past the halfway line. And he drives forward midway inside the Newcastle half. Goes to his right here to Zaire Emery. Lets it run through to Skriniar, then plays it forward into Zaire Emery. He'll play a 10-yard pass towards Mbappe. He's drifted out to the left-hand side here. One-on-one with Jamal Lascelles. Goes inside to his right to Zaire Emery. He's got Dembele out right all on his own. He'll dink it out towards the former Barcelona winger. One-on-one with Anthony Gordon. Can he work a cross? He goes across to the left instead to Zaire Emery on the edge of the box, who dinks it in towards Hernandez, who's made a run into the box. Flag stays down, heads it home, and he gets his first goal for his new club, Lucas Hernandez. Really delicate ball, dinked into the box there by Zaire Emery. And it was Lucas Hernandez from left back who made a charging run into the box like a striker. And as he headed home, he was unmarked. I just don't think anyone tracked his run. As he was a left back. Oh, God, that's close if he's onside or not. If anyone's played him on, it's Dan Burn on the opposite side. But Zaire Emery noticed the run by Lucas Hernandez. And a dinked ball, 6 yards out, heads it to the bottom right corner. Nick Pope with no chance. Well taken by Lucas Hernandez. Bottom right corner, side netting. Difficult for Nick Pope. And it is currently 3-1. It is being checked though, because that will be close for offside. It would be his third goal in the Champions League. He got one last season before his ACL injury against Barcelona in September. And the goal counts. Onside, Lucas Hernandez just about timed his run right. And from left back, he made a marauding run like a striker because his team needed help for goals. And he's given them exactly that. 3-1. Lucas Hernandez headed goal. It's 3-1. Could we see a bit of a comeback now? Could that spur PSG on now to go on and possibly win this game? They've got possession with their left back, Hernandez. Down the left-hand side it goes. Helped on by Barcola as that change was still made. So Bradley Barcola on for PSG. He replaces Kolo Muani. Tonali gives the ball away, looking for Gordon in a striker position. It's now more with Marquinhos. Forward to Ousmane Dembele. Back heels it into the path of Hakimi. He gets a touch away from Guimaraes. He's got options now to the left. Barcola's one of them to the left-hand side, and he finds him in the box. Chested touch, plays it across, it deflects into the sky, and volleyed behind by Almiron for a corner. Almiron for a corner. Instant impact there from Bradley Barcola. As Mbappe is getting his Newcastle welcome. Getting a fair few hand signals and signs handed towards him here, the Frenchman. But the momentum might just start to switch over to PSG. They take it short with Dembele. Across to the edge of the box, it goes to Hakimi. From afar, he will strike. It will deflect off the left knee of Isak and behind for a corner on the opposite side. For PSG. Corner on the far side this time. Good block by the striker, Isak. And it'll be Dembele to take an out-swinging corner. He's looking for a short option, and he will go short to Hakimi. He will feed it back into Dembele. Then inside to Zaire Emery on the edge of the box. He just goes under his foot, but he just keeps it away from Isak. To Agate, and as Agate looks for Dembele on the right side from the corner. He just overhit it, and out it went for a goal kick. Luis Enrique not happy there with Manuel Ugarte's pass. He actually was sent off in England last season, Manuel Ugarte, when he was met by Arsenal. In the last 16 of the Europa League, he was sent off, but obviously his team at that point, Sporting Lisbon, knocked out Arsenal on penalties in that competition. But Lucas Hernandez, just onside, just shown there on the replay. Dan Burn playing him on. Dan Burn's the one who cleared it up the field now for Newcastle, deep in the PSG half, towards their right back area. Skriniar's gone over there to try and deal with Isak, and that should be a PSG throw. And it is thrown for PSG for their right back Hakimi. And Newcastle are pushing up the field here, pressing up high, trying to win the ball in those dangerous areas. Hakimi with the throw. Gets it to Agate. Gets the return. Then volleys forward here, Hakimi. Up towards Mbappe. Header won by Lascelles. He nods it out to the right, but it's picked up by Barcola. Inside it goes to Mbappe, who miscontrols it. Won by Longstaff in the centre circle. Shifted out to the left to Tonali, who's allowed to turn forward. The man who got to the Champions League semi-final last year with AC Milan. Links up with Gordon with the 1-2. Tonali, lifted ball towards the far post in the 6-yard box. It's easily caught by Donnarumma. Unpressured? Not pressured by any Newcastle man from the cross. Skriniar, ball down the left-hand side. It's a lifted one. It's kept in by Trippier. No, it's not. Throw-in for Newcastle. The clearance by Skriniar had already gone out of play before Trippier could head it back into towards one of his teammates. PSG's only European Cup win was in 1996 when they won the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup in 96, where they beat Rapid Vienna 1-0. It's now back with PSG. And a free kick given, won by Gonzalo Ramos. Kick quickly taken. Marquinhos lifted ball in behind, looking for Mbappe. It's well dealt with on the edge of the 18-yard box by Jamal Lascelles, where it'll be seen behind for a throw-in for PSG. Couldn't quite be kept in there by Dan Burn on the left-hand side, who, by the way, 10 years ago tomorrow, he was in a team where he lost 2-1 to Bolton in the Championship when he was at Birmingham. 10 years on, he's scoring in the Champions League for his boyhood club against PSG. It's just quite incredible. For Dan Burn, now at the age of 31. Only 5 years ago, he was winning the League One title with Wigan as well. Got in the Team of the Year that year in League One. That's now Hakimi linking up with Ramos. Enters the Newcastle half there. Completes a 1-2 with Ousmane Dembele. Gets it back into Dembele, who overruns it. Tackled by Anthony Gordon, who plays it forward here to Tonali. Exactly on halfway. He drills a ball in behind looking for Isak. It's misplaced and overhit. And it goes right through to Donnarumma, who works out quickly to the left to goal scorer Lucas Hernandez. Passes the halfway line on the PSG left. Works out now to Mbappe. Dinks it over the top for Ramos. Brings it down on the left side of the box. And he misplaces the touch out for a goal kick. But he was offside anyway. Other Champions League scores. Young Boys have turned it around at Red Star Belgrade. It's now 2-1 to Young Boys. Milan and Dortmund are still 0-0. RB Leipzig have equalised against Manchester City. 1-1 in Germany. Barcelona still 1-up at Porto, and Celtic still 1-1 with Lazio. Stan Burn at left back. Clears forward for Newcastle. Chested forward by Marquinhos towards Hakimi. Runs out of pitch though for the pass. Throwing for Newcastle towards the halfway line. Dan Burn to take. Signed a contract extension in June of this year till 2025. It's Longstaff going for the switch out towards Trippier on the right. Deflects towards Lucas Hernandez, who keeps it away from Almiron. That's now Skriniar. Out to the right centre back Marquinhos on the edge of the PSG 18-yard box. Keeps the ball moving out wide right to Hakimi. Chops inside, offering a tackle from Gordon, but he keeps it away from the English winger. And it's now cleared by Donnarumma in the 6-yard box for PSG. Headed forward by Longstaff. Tackled unfairly by Ugarte there, Guimaraes, and he wins the free kick. Well won there by the Newcastle midfielder. And we're going to have some changes now. Number 4, Manuel Ugarte, who struggled a little bit in that midfield for PSG tonight. He'll be replaced here by an attacking-minded midfielder, Portuguese man Vitinha, who spent a season on loan at Wolves in 2020-2021, scoring the 1 goal in the FA Cup 4th round against Chorley. Bit of a different scene for him tonight in Newcastle. So he'll replace Manuel Ugarte. So it's 2 quite attacking-minded midfielders here for PSG now. So a bit more chances maybe for Newcastle to get some more goals, as 64 minutes have been played, and that's all that Sandro Tonali can play. He's been unbelievable in that midfield for Newcastle tonight. Number 8, Sandro Tonali. And in his 20th appearance in the competition, it looks like he could be leading Newcastle to a 3-1 win as it stands, and he'll be replaced by number 32, Elliot Anderson, another man who's been here for so long. He joined in 2010 at the age of 8. Did start the last 3 Premier League games, Elliot Anderson. Came on for 20 so minutes away at AC Milan. From this free kick, it's going to be Trippier. Curling ball in, it's overhit, and it'll go right through for a goal kick for PSG. So we've had Manuel Ugarte off for Vitinha, and Sandro Tonali off for Elliot Anderson. So 2 changes in both midfields for both sides, as we've got 25 minutes left to play, plus any added on time. It's Newcastle 3, goals from Almiron, Burn and Longstaff. And then we've had 1 pulled back for 3-1 by Lucas Hernandez. Expert header into the bottom right corner. Nothing that Nick Pope could do. So that is now that run of clean sheets gone for Newcastle. They were on a run of 5 clean sheets in a row this season in all competitions. That's now been ended. They have got 3 in a row though in the Premier League. And as well, it also continues their run of Newcastle, who have never kept back-to-back clean sheets in this competition. That's PSG on the ball. Vitinha, the substitute, giving it away. Poor ball, won by Dan Burn. Now Guimaraes on the left. Oh, Elliot Anderson chopping it past Vitinha. And Dembele enters the box on the left. Chopping one way, then the other. But then he's stopped by the Brazilian. Overdid it there, Elliot Anderson. But some good skill on the original take-on that he did on the 2 PSG players as they counter-attack quickly. Bradley Barcola on the left. Feeding it furthest left is Mbappe. Trying to find the return to Barcola and he finds him in the corner of the box. Mbappe, ball through. Ramos, back to goal. So finds Barcola. Trying to work a space for a cross. He plays it across to the edge of the box to Zaire Emery. Once more to Vitinha. 30 yards away from goal. Works it out to the left now to Zaire Emery. Furthest left is Barcola. He's got an overlap of Hernandez. Plays it across goal instead to the edge of the box to Vitinha. Keeps the ball shifting. Zaire Emery. Left back Hernandez on the ball. Lifts a curling cross. Comes off Trippier. It's a corner kick for PSG. One more goal scored by the French side and it becomes, a very tense ending to the game as I think Ousmane Dembele just picked up a yellow card there by the referee. Not sure what for. We definitely just put his yellow card away there, the referee. As Dembele goes to the edge of the box to Zaire Emery. Curls it in. The header had to be won by Cher and then cleared away by Trippier at the far post. He'll run through for a PSG throw-in. Important header there by Fabian Cher. It was a teasing ball there by Zaire Emery, who's already picked up an assist tonight for PSG. So I'm not sure what's quite going on here. Some of the PSG players just having a discussion with the referee, Istvan Kovacs. As Ousmane Dembele was booked, as I mentioned before, must have been some words he might have said to the referee about something. I'm not too sure, to be honest. As Zaire Emery has it for PSG. Goes all the way back to his own goalkeeper here, Donnarumma on the edge of the box. Goes to the right to Hakimi, who will get there ahead of Elliot Anderson. That's now back to Marquinhos. Across to Donnarumma. Once more to Skriniar on the PSG left. Finds Hernandez. Plays it through the legs of Almiron. Then tackled late. Free kick for PSG. Skriniar takes it quickly. Donnarumma dinks it out to the right to Hakimi. Good press still from Newcastle, even though we've played 68 minutes of football. Long ball forward, in behind. Great touch by Ousmane Dembele. He's been chased down by Lascelles, but he'll shoot before he gets there, and the shot goes wide. He entered the box there, Ousmane Dembele. It was a searching ball which found him, and he's been hunted down there by Lascelles and Dan Burn. It was a good ball there. Onside as well, Dembele went over the head of Burn, and he brought it down beautifully, and he has entered the box on the right-hand side. He got the shot away, but he was just barged as he was striking the ball by Lascelles. Really good recovery by the Newcastle captain. And it's a goal kick for Newcastle. I didn't think he was going to get there, Lascelles. Didn't think he had it in him. The pace on Dembele, but was able to put him off his shot. It's now with Marquinhos in the right-back area for Newcastle. His first clearance comes off Gordon, and then he's caught late there by Gordon the second time, and that'll be a booking. He's missing the weekend game, Anthony Gordon, against West Ham due to getting 5 yellow cards already in the Premier League, and he's been booked again tonight. Blocked the first pass from Marquinhos, but the second one where the ball was there to be won by both of them, he just went in a little bit strongly. Did win a bit of the ball, but also scissored through the man as well. So, yellow card for Anthony Gordon, free kick for PSG as it remains 3-1 with just over 20 minutes to go here. This is the first ever meeting as well between these two. No head-to-head record previously. As PSG have lost 5 of their last 7 Champions League games against English opposition. The 2 wins they did pick up came against United 3-1 away in December 2020. And then they won 2-0 at home to City in 2021. So it could be 6 losses in the last 8 against English opposition. As they've already lost it here on their left-hand side here. Bradley Barcola giving the ball away on the halfway line for PSG. And it's now a throw in here with Trippier. as Almiron has gone down here. Already piling up the injuries for Newcastle. Tonight they're without Botman, Joe Linton, Willock, Barnes and Wilson. And it looks like Almiron's just gone down. Hopefully it's nothing serious, as he's going to be replaced here, Almiron. Almiron made it 1-0 in the 17th minute, capitalising on a saved shot from Alexander Isak. So the man who scored Newcastle's first ever goal back in the Champions League this season is replaced by Jacob Murphy, who did start the first game at AC Milan. Jacob Murphy, but Almiron was preferred to this time out against PSG. As it's already a PSG throw in here. Lost by Newcastle. Thrown towards the halfway line to Mbappe. Back out to the left to Hernandez. Down the line finds Barcola. Inside. Misplaced pass towards Mbappe. Picked up by Longstaff on halfway. Forward to Guimaraes, who takes it on the spin. But he loses it to Zaire Emery. Forward to Barcola. Inside to Mbappe. Back out to the left to Barcola, but it was overhit there. It'll be a throw in for Newcastle midway inside their own half. Just nothing quite clicking for PSG tonight, who were on a run of 3 clean sheets themselves. PSG. That's obviously gone away, as neither team could keep a clean sheet tonight. Trippier still has the ball in his 2 hands for the throw-in. Throws it to the halfway line to Jacob Murphy. Back to the PSG goal, back towards his own goal, plays it to Trippier. Then across to Lascelles. Clearance on the halfway line is very poor. One back by PSG through Hernandez. Now Marquinhos, Vitinha, out to the right back. Hakimi, this is all in the PSG half as Hakimi's ball is short. Marquinhos hurries the clearance and it goes forward towards Mbappe, won by Lascelles. Back it goes towards Pope, but it's kept alive by Cher. Loses it though to Ramos. Forward to the right to Dembele. Oh, bad touch. It allows the need to slow down. Allows the challenge from Cher, and he won the ball back, the Swissman. And now Newcastle play out from the back, with Longstaff in the left back position. Down the line it goes, picked up by Vitinha, who loses it himself. Back with Longstaff. Down the line to Gordon. Inside it goes to Anderson. Lifted ball up towards Isak in the PSG half. It's a header won by Hernandez. Isak will give chase, but it will drop into the hands of Donnarumma just in time before Isak could get there. It's now with Marquinhos bringing it out from the back for PSG. Out to the right it goes to Hakimi. Passes the halfway line. Lays it off forward to Dembele. But the pass has gone behind him and out for a throw-in. PSG are just a rubbish team in the Champions League. I'm sorry. But the amount of talent, money on this pitch, and I've never seen them play well in the Champions League, I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong, but how they just fail. They never fail to amaze me on the big stage when it comes to the big games in Europe, how badly they crumble half the time. So bad. Elliot Anderson in the left wing position here for Newcastle towards the corner flag here. He's been tackled by Hakimi fairly, and Hakimi will then clear, and it will drop to Vitinha, the PSG substitute. Plays it out to the right here to Ramos, tackled strongly by Fabian Cher, and it'll be a throw-in for PSG. Halfway inside their own half, taken quickly to Zaire Emery. Return the ball back to Hakimi. So Marquinhos in the 18-yard box, being chased down here by Isak. He'll go to his left to Skriniar. Ball forward to Vitinha, then back into the 18-yard box here to Marquinhos, who now has time to drive the ball forward. He plays it to Zaire Emery in the centre circle. He's looking out wide right to Dembele, but that pass isn't on, so has to go back to right back Hakimi on halfway. To the left to Vitinha. Now with Skriniar, one of the furthest back here for PSG. He's got barely any options ahead of him. You go to the left here to Hernandez. Forward to Mbappe. Couple of 1-2s and then laid off to Vitinha. Midway inside the Newcastle half. Zaire Emery out to the right looking for the run of Ramos. He will deflect the ball out for a Newcastle throw-in. Dan Burn got there ahead of him. Kicked the ball forward. It came off Ramos and out for a throw and it went. So throw-in for Dan Burn. In that left back area. Be a longer throwing down the line, looking for Anderson, helped onto the halfway line, where it'll be hooked away by Skriniar, wrung as far as another throw for Newcastle. 15 minutes to go, Pulse added on time, it's still 3-1 to Newcastle. The last time they won a Champions League fixture in the proper knockout group stages was a 3-1 home win to Bayer Leverkusen. So they like winning 3-1 in recent times in this competition. Well, I'll say recent times, 20 years ago, the last time they were playing in the Champions League. As it's Bradley Barcola on it here now for PSG, just inside his own half, lays it off to Mbappe, goes to his right now to Zaire Emery, pokes it forward to Ramos in the centre circle. He's got runners ahead of him on the right, and he'll find Ousmane Dembele in the final third here. Newcastle got plenty back here. Ousmane Dembele plays a ball forward to Ramos, tries to lay it back off to Dembele in the box, dealt with by Byrne, cleared, thrown for PSG midway inside the Newcastle half. Hakimi takes it quick to Marquinhos towards the halfway line here for PSG. 1 goal makes this game tasty. That's all I'm saying. 1 goal, 3-2. You know, it starts to become a nervy ending for Newcastle. It's been clipped out to the right side here for Hakimi. Early, low ball in to Dembele. Gets beyond Byrne, shoots, poke parries. Guimaraes clears, hooks it, loops it into the sky, where it can't be won by Murphy. It'll be brought down by Hernandez with the header. Off Trippier last, throwing for Hernandez in the final third. Really well taken there, though, by Dembele. Great touch in front of him to get away from Byrne, and the right-footed shot was hit with power. It was parried by Pope, then cleared. Only not conceding many goals so far this season so far. Newcastle United, as Dembele runs out of room on the right-hand side, throwing for Newcastle. So far in the league, they've conceded 7 goals. So averaging 1 a game. They're conceding in the league. Newcastle United. But this is just a night to remember so far for Newcastle. As Isak's touch out towards Gordon on the left, just inside the PSG half, has gone out for a throw-in for the French side, taken quickly across the pitch to Skriniar, who's left centre-back for PSG. It's on the edge of his 18-yard box here, as Newcastle still pressing high, try to win the ball in dangerous areas. Lucas Hernandez. Back he goes to the edge of the box now to Skriniar. He was part of that Inter Milan squad to get to the final last season. He was injured for a lot of last year with a back injury. Actually missed the quarter-final and the semi-finals and didn't feature in the final off the bench. But now he's with PSG, and they've got an attack here with the right-hand side to Dembele. Low one towards Mbappe in the box, goes beyond him, cleared by Trippier. Kept alive here by Hakimi. It's out to the left to Hernandez. Ball forward to Vitinha, about 40 yards away from goal. Has to do some creative work a bit deeper here for PSG, Vitinha. Out it goes now to the right to Dembele. Chance for a cross, but he's been tackled by Gordon, and he'll come away with it, Anthony Gordon. And he tries to burst away from Zaire Emery. It goes down, seemed a bit easy there by Gordon, but he wins a free kick. Just before the halfway line, Gordon wins that free kick. Just haven't been sharp enough at all tonight, PSG. Any of the players, if we're going to be brutally honest. It'll be their first away loss of the season, PSG. Haven't lost in the league so far away from home. They have also only won 1 away from home as well. 4-1 to Lyon, who sit bottom of the league at the minute. Mbappe on halfway, met by a strong challenge from Jamal Lascelles. And then Jamal Lascelles ends up committing another foul anyway on the halfway line. But he's had a stormer of a game tonight, I think, Jamal Lascelles. Unbelievable performance from the 29-year-old. Only making his 4th appearance of the season. It's his 3rd start. And his 2 other starts came against City in the League Cup and Burnley. So all 3 of his starts have come at home. Free kick on the halfway line now for PSG. Vitinha takes out to the left to Hernandez, exactly on the halfway line. Ball forward to Barcola. And back to Hernandez. It's now a Skriniar midway inside the PSG half. 10 minutes to go, plus added on time. Marquinhos out to the right-hand side now by Zaire Emery to Hakimi. Finds Zaire Emery, just about gets it away from... No, he doesn't. Zaire Emery shoved away the challenge to try and keep the ball there. And commits the foul on the Newcastle left. Played inside by Hakimi towards Zaire Emery. And he just tripped Guimaraes, who tried to nick the ball away from him. And it'll be a free kick for Newcastle. But genuinely, the best player on the pitch for PSG tonight, or someone who's looked actually like they want to play properly and want to, look sharp, is Warren Zaire Emery. And he's 17 years old. He was born in 2006. Made his first start in January of this year. He's the youngest ever player to start for PSG. He was 16 years, 19 months, 9 months, sorry, 19. 16 years, 9 months and 29 days old at the time of that start. And he's looked like the only one who actually cares, really. Who's actually given his full 100%, which is a little bit worrying when a 17-year-old is bringing that to your team. But that just sums up PSG, really. For the last 10 or so years, they've been attempting to win the Champions League. It's Trippier from that free kick. Curls into the box, and it's headed by Guimaraes, 8 yards out. Straight down the throat of Donnarumma. Easy save. And with 9 minutes to go, PSG still looking to try and equalise. It's played forward to Mbappe inside his own half. Then past the halfway line with a ball down the line to Bradley Barcola. Gets to be on the first challenge of Jacob Murphy. And away from Anderson as he drives towards the right side. Lays it off to Zaire Emery. Then out to the right it goes to Ousmane Dembele in the final third. Ball inside to Barcola. Gets it forward towards Hakimi. Low ball into the 6-yard box. Dealt with by Cher. And it'll run through for a throw-in for PSG. The two centre-backs have been superb tonight for Newcastle. Fabian Cher and Jamal Lascelles. Oh my days, Hakimi, what a shocking ball. That is straight into the path of Gordon, who then loses out, trying to link up with Isak. Skriniar, oh my word. PSG can't pass the ball. Skriniar straight to Elliot Anderson, who gives the ball away, trying to find Jacob Murphy in behind in the PSG half. It's now with Donnarumma in the 6-yard box. Out to left centre-back Skriniar, who's been pressed here by Murphy. He's getting caught here, Skriniar. Needs to get rid. Does thump the ball away in the end towards the halfway line, but the header's been won by Guimaraes. Headed back forward by Hernandez. Nodded down by Ramos in front of Vitinha. It's now with Hernandez. Down the line it goes. Inside to Mbappe by Barcola. And he gets the return. Barcola can't get away from Lascelles. Great sliding challenge from the captain. He has been unbelievable tonight, Jamal Lascelles. Seriously good. Mbappe on the left. Midway inside the Newcastle half. Driving inside. And dinking the ball out to the right. To Ousmane Dembele. He's got Hakimi in support. He'll lay it off to Hakimi on the edge of the box. Playing a low ball to Ramos in the box. Can't get away from Guimaraes or Lascelles. And it'll drop to Guimaraes, who will just play the ball out wide right. No one's there for Newcastle, but it just gets the ball away on the halfway line. It allows Newcastle to push forward. As Warren Zaire Emery was booked, I think, after his reaction, giving away the free kick as Barcola takes on Trippier. He's been great since coming on. Barcola enters the box, wants to get onto his right foot, but he overruns it. Tackled by Murphy, and he'll drop to Nick Pope. He's been decent since coming on. Bradley Barcola on the left-hand side. He did start the last 2 games for PSG. He scored 7 goals in all competitions last season for Lyon. Bradley Barcola, as I have just been notified of Manchester City taking the lead at Leipzig, 2-1. Julian Alvarez with the goal in the 84th minute. Dortmund Milan still 0-0. Barcelona still hold their 1-0 lead at Porto. Celtic Lazio 1-1. Young Boys still winning 2-1 at Red Star. As it with PSG inside their own half. Losing it to Longstaff. Inside to Isak. Enters the box in the corner of the box. Back on the edge of the box. Strikes it down the throat of Donnarumma, who throws it out quickly. Down the left-hand side to Lucas Hernandez, the goal scorer for PSG. Bursting forward. Passes the halfway line. Overruns it again. Because he's been fouled. I thought that was a bit soft, really. I thought Lucas Hernandez was tackled pretty fairly there, but referee said no. Free kick taken to Vitinha on halfway for PSG. Just no options, no movement. So rubbish, really, from PSG. Working out to the right here to Ousmane Dembele. Goes inside to Vitinha, 25 yards from goal. Clips it, sprays it out to the left to Bradley Barcola, who chests it down nicely in the corner of the box. Plays it to the edge of the box to Mbappe. With a frustrated strike, it's not deflected. And it's a goal kick. Mbappe has simply not had a sniff tonight. He's wanting a deflection, and it came off Lascelles. How's the referee not seen that? Oh my days. He's right in front of it. It comes off the backside of Lascelles. It should be a corner with 5 minutes to go, but the referee somehow gives a goal kick. Wow. Remains 3-1. And with only 27% of the ball, Newcastle are 3-1 up. Marquinhos has it now for PSG as they regain possession of the football. In their 18-yard box is Skriniar. Left-footed ball, so short, it's unbelievable. One back by Longstaff, but then it's a short ball by Newcastle. One back by Bradley Barcola. He's got Mbappe to his left, and he'll feed it to Kylian Mbappe. Enters the box on the left-hand side. One-on-one with Kieran Trippier. Wants to get onto his right foot. Twisting, turning, laying it off on the edge of the box to Vitinha, and it's over the crossbar. The substitute got the ball from Mbappe. Let strike Vitinha. And he went so far over the crossbar. He's yet to score this season, the midfielder, and maybe you can see why. Always rising over the crossbar for the 23-year-old midfielder. 4 minutes to go, plus added on time. Newcastle still through lead by 3-1. What an unbelievable night this could be. It's the first time in the Champions League group stage since the 2002-2003 season where they actually managed to get to the second group stage phase, which it was back then. You had to go through 2 group stage phases before reaching the quarterfinals. And they got to the second group stage phase where they were knocked out, unfortunately, finishing third behind Barcelona and Inter Milan. How far can they go this season? They've already lost it. Throwing for PSG on the halfway line on the far side for Hakimi. Again, just no movement. I mean, don't get me wrong, Newcastle have been really good and their energy has been fantastic the full 90 minutes. But PSG, for the quality they've got, the amount of misplaced passes has been absolutely unbelievable. I know they're a new team with a lot of new signings gelling, but still embarrassing at times. Some of the passes they give away, 2 of them have led to goals. 2 bad passes. So we've got 3 minutes to go. It's PSG in their own half. As Manchester City guarantee the 3 points in Leipzig. Jeremy Doku with the goal in the 92nd minute for Manchester City. So they will take 6 points from their opening 6, Manchester City. And it looks like Newcastle are going to be taking 4 from their opening 6, which is quite impressive when they've played AC Milan away and PSG at home. Hernandez tries to find a ball inside the box for Barcola, cleared by Trippier, along as far as Zaire Emery, who has it in the midfield now for PSG. All Newcastle players behind the ball, bar Isak. Vitinha out to the right-hand side, out to Dembele in the final third. He's one-on-one with Gordon. Plays a left-footed ball inside, back to Vitinha. Pokes it forward to Mbappe, can't get the return to Vitinha. And it's now fallen to Guimaraes. Outside of the boot, curling ball out to the right to Isak, who won't be able to keep it in. Thrown for PSG, just inside their own half here. As there is Eddie Howe and his second-hand man, Jason Tindall, who is obviously very famous for being very involved within the games for Newcastle. They're both on the touchline, trying to see this game out for Newcastle, and it looks like they're going to do it. For all the possession PSG have had, they've created very little dangerous chances, but here could be a big one. Mbappe in the box, wanting to shoot. He will not shoot because he commits a foul. As he tried to work himself away from the bodies in the Newcastle box, he tackled Gordon in the end. And Mbappe's a bit confused why the free kick's been given. Let's have a look. He was fed the ball by Hakimi. And Gordon's just fell over. Honestly, on a little bit of a side note, this referee has been shocking, by the way. His decision-making for goal kicks, corners, some fouls, it's just been rubbish. Like, Gordon's just fell over. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. He just fell over. And he's given the free kick. That's why Mbappe was so confused. As the free kick by Nick Pope's gone straight out for a throw-in for PSG, midway inside the PSG half. As we've got a minute left of the 90. 2 balls on the pitch. One of them needs to be evacuated. Hakimi throws it into Dembele. Pickpocketed here by Elliot Anderson. And tackled by Hakimi. Thrown for Newcastle deep in the PSG half. As Lazio have nicked a 95th minute winner. Pedro, you might remember playing for Barcelona and Chelsea, has nicked it late for Lazio at Celtic. Heartbreaking for Brendan Rodgers. 2-1 to Lazio. Red Star have equalised against Young Boys. That's 2-2. Barcelona man sent off Gavi in the 93rd minute, but they still lead 1-0. Dortmund Milan, the other game in this group, has finished 0-0. Back-to-back 0-0s for AC Milan. Another game in a row for Newcastle in the Champions League without a goal. Dortmund obviously losing 2-0 against PSG away. 5 minutes added on. And I cannot see PSG scoring again. I don't think I could see them scoring again if they played another half an hour, to be completely honest. But the Newcastle pressing, the energy, has forced PSG to make all these mistakes. And they've lost it again. Fabian Schär on Ramos. What a tackle. Murphy. Schär. Edge of the box. He slips as he shoots. And what a goal. Oh my word. Fabian Schär with an absolute rocket into the top right corner. And it's Newcastle 4, PSG 1. What a night. What a moment. And what a 3 points this is in Group F for Newcastle. It's supposed to be the group of death, but they've settled in so nicely into the Champions League once again after 20 years away. Mbappe can't believe it. Fabian Schär, take a bow. It's his 11th goal for the club. It's his first of the season. And that is one hell of a strike. He won it deep in the PSG half, where they've won the ball so many times in dangerous areas. He played it to Murphy, who relayed it into Schär, who'd carried on his run from centre-back. And from around 22 yards out, as he slips, he strikes it. Donnarumma, stretching, diving, not being able to reach it. And that's an unbelievable goal. As he's hitting the deck, he sees the ball fly into the top corner. It's an Eddie Howe masterclass. And it's Newcastle 4, PSG 1. What a goal. Honestly, the way Eddie Howe has set up Newcastle tonight is what has given them the win. Obviously, the players have gone out and dispatched the game plan. I 100% understand that. But the game plan, pressing this PSG team so high to make them make mistakes in areas like that, you know, in their own half. It's not where PSG want to lose the ball. It's not even where PSG want the ball. PSG want to be in the opposition half, keeping the ball, creating their openings. But Newcastle aren't even allowing them out of their own half. It's been such a good performance. And they are so deserving of this 4-1 lead. Alan Shearer can't believe it. The last time Newcastle won a Champions League game, it was 3-1 against Bayer Leverkusen, 7,525 days ago against Bayer Leverkusen in February. It was late February in 2003. And now they're winning 4-1. And the camera for the game is being blocked by Newcastle waving flags. As we've had a change here, Anthony Gordon replaced by left-back Matt Targett. So they're just shoring it up in defence now, Newcastle, not wanting to concede any more goals. As Mbappe has it from the short corner here, won by PSG. Takes it around Murphy, pulled down by Murphy. And there'll be a free kick given by the referee on the edge of the box. Tried to go towards the byline there, Mbappe for the cross. And he was brought down by Jacob Murphy, the substitute, who got the assist for that Fabian Schär goal. And what a goal. Honestly, you just don't see many strikes like that when they're slipping as well. He was the one who won the ball back, and he was the one who finished it as well. Mbappe, though, with this free kick on the right, near the byline, so it's only available for a cross here. No shooting opportunity here for Mbappe, who's failed to score now in PSG's last 3 games, including tonight. Mbappe curls it into the box. It's headed away by Fabian Schär, still alive on the edge of the box, helped forward by Hakimi, sliced away by Isak, and it'll be headed away by Dan Burn for a throw-in for PSG. But Mbappe, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, he's just simply not had a sniff. He has not had a chance tonight to get any kind of goals for his side. Mbappe, ball forward to Ramos. Out to the left to Vitinha. 45 seconds to go. He clips it out wide right now to Hakimi. Everything to his left. Left-footed cross. Curler towards Hernandez, who's already scored 1 header. Couldn't get beyond Trippier, and the ball bounced away, zipped off the wet turf for a goal kick for Newcastle. And just, honestly, what a night. Newcastle unbeaten in their first 2 games in this season's Champions League. So deserving of this victory tonight. Newcastle United and Eddie Howe. Nick Pope from the goal kick, clears it up the field into the PSG half. It misses both Isak. I can't quite see who's gone down for PSG, but they're both down here. It's actually Lucas Hernandez, but they're both back up, and PSG look to go again. We've played the 5 minutes. We enter the Newcastle half with the ball on the far right-hand side for PSG with Hakimi, playing it forward to Ramos and getting the return, and playing it out to the right here to Ousmane Dembele. Can they get a consolation goal? He's a one-on-one with Matt Targett. He goes inside to Hakimi. Now Vitinha from afar shoots it, drags it wide, and that might be that at St James's Park. Shocking attempt from Vitinha. And there they are. Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall, masterminding this Newcastle victory tonight. They might be missing Botman, Joe Linton, Willock, Barnes and Wilson, but what they've got is enough for the win. Nick Pope, goal kick, high into the sky, and that's where the full-time whistle is blown. It ends Newcastle 4, PSG 1, and on a historic night where Champions League football returns to St James's Park, they wipe the floor with French champions PSG. The goal scoring started in the 17th minute through Miguel Almiron, when a Marquinhos misplaced pass was intercepted by Guimaraes. A shot by Isak was saved by Donnarumma, and the rebound was put in by the Paraguayan. Just before half-time, 5 minutes to go, Dan Burn headed home just behind the white line. It didn't hit the back of the net because it was saved by Donnarumma, but he couldn't stop it from going over the line. And at Newcastle, after a lengthy VAR check, went 2-0 up. Just after half-time, PSG raised the tempo and Lucas Hernandez got one back. Sean Longstaff scored in the 50th minute. Kieran Trippier ball through into the box and Longstaff got it underneath Donnarumma for a goal to make it 3-0. One was pulled back by Lucas Hernandez in the 56th minute as PSG were trying to get back in the game. It was a headed shot into the bottom right corner as he made a run all the way from left back into the box, making a striker's run. And the game was seen off. PSG just struggled to make high quality chances, struggled to get shots on target, and Fabian Schär really did put the icing on the cake with a cherry on top in the 91st minute with a strike from around 22 yards out. He struck, he slipped, but the ball hit the back of the net, top right corner, goal of the game from Fabian Schär. And everyone for Newcastle tonight was a 8 out of 10 or more. All across the pitch, unbelievable from every single man. And the game plan from Eddie Howe to press high, to outnumber them in midfield and to win the ball in dangerous areas came off like a treat. And the start for Luis Enrique just goes from bad to worse. It's their first loss this season, PSG, away from home. And they've been embarrassed. They've been outsmarted. And they just couldn't deal with the tactical plan implanted by Newcastle tonight. What a game. What a historic night. And, you know, as an England supporter, not a Newcastle fan, you can appreciate what these nights mean for fans of these teams. You know, like in 2017, I believe, 2017, Newcastle won the championship. That's 6 years ago. The second tier of English football. Now, they're in the Champions League, unbeaten in their first two after drawing away against AC Milan at the San Siro, beating French champions PSG 4-1 at home. Newcastle will 100% fancy topping this group. AC Milan and Dortmund in the other game was 0-0. I think 100% Newcastle fancy topping this group, and with an atmosphere that they can generate like that at home games, I think Newcastle will fancy it big time in the Champions League this season. Maybe not going all the way, but I think they can 100% go far because they've shown away from home they can defend well at AC Milan in a ground like the San Siro. They've shown at home that the home atmosphere can just be something like no other, and they can play high-quality teams off the park like they have tonight. So why not Newcastle go on a really good run in the Champions League? They've got absolutely every chance to. And they've not even got everyone fit, by the way. You know, they're missing, Jamal Lascelles was playing. It's his fourth game of the season. He only played 11 last year. No Sven Botman. That's a big loss for Newcastle. But honestly, Jamal Lascelles was absolutely unbelievable tonight. I mean, so everyone for Newcastle was. But that back two centre-backs of Lascelles and Schär were unbelievable. They really were. And Newcastle have fully deserved every single point that they've earned from this game. And that's all three that they've got. So they do go top of the group. Newcastle, I presume. There's no reason why they wouldn't. Yep, they go top of the group. Dortmund on 1 point, AC Milan on 2, PSG on 3, and Newcastle on 4. Nice little 1, 2, 3, 4 table there. But I 100% think that Newcastle will 100% fancy top in this group. It's meant to be Group of Death, by the way. Group of Death, no problem for these Geordies. They sit top of it after 2 games. Superb commentary, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. I'll just go through the other results from tonight in the Champions League. We had 2 earlier kickoffs where Atletico Madrid beat Feyenoord at home 3-2. Royal Antwerp were 2-0 up, but they threw that away against Shakhtar Donetsk because the Ukrainian side won that one 3-2 away from home. Red Star and Young Boys ended 2-2. Another draw in Group F, and that was Dortmund-Milan. That ended 0-0. Obviously, Newcastle PSG was 4-1. RB Leipzig were beaten 3-1 by Manchester City. 2 late goals by Alvarez and Doku gave Manchester City the 3 points to make them go 6 out of 6. Barcelona held on with 10 men away at Porto to win 1-0. And Celtic had their hearts broken. Pedro in the 95th minute won it for Lazio. So Celtic are now 2-2 with losses in the Champions League. But honestly, what a night, what a game. It's not even like it was a close game. Obviously, PSG had about 75% of the possession, but they just did not create a lot of big chances. There was a big one in the 5th minute with Dembele. I'm just trying to think. And then the goal from Hernandez. And after the goal, I'm trying to think of big chances that they got. And to be honest, I don't think Nick Pope was threatened. Dembele had a shot in the box about midway inside the half. But that was right at Nick Pope. And other than that, the quality of chances was very low. And Newcastle have just done everything right to win that game. They couldn't have played a better performance, I don't think. And they've come away with 3 points against the French champions. It's now 4 wins in a row for Newcastle as well, in all competitions. They are unbeaten in their last 7. Their last loss was to Brighton away, where they were beaten by Evan Ferguson hat-trick at Brighton, away from home. So yeah, unbeaten in the last 6. Now Newcastle, the last loss was 7 games ago against Brighton at the start of September. And now they start August with just a nice easy win against PSG in the Champions League. How do you like that, Newcastle United? But for me tonight, that is going to be the end of the commentary. And there will be no commentaries now until the 22nd of October. I'm away on holiday next week. And it is the international break the week after. So it will be 2 weeks now with no commentaries on the channel. So the next commentary is on the 22nd of October. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you know when that commentary is. And you know when the ones coming up are. So you know when I am live again. The next one is AC Milan against Juventus on the 22nd of October in Serie A. On the 24th in the midweek is Sevilla Arsenal. On the Thursday of that week, we're going to be doing Brighton Ajax on the 26th. And on the 30th of October, we're doing Coventry West Brom in the Championship. So when I return, I've got 4 commentaries coming up in the matter of 8 days. So you're getting a commentary every 2 days when I return back from my break. So make sure you are subscribed with notifications on so you know when I'm back, you know when I'm live, and you can come and tune in and try and just listen to commentaries of big games, big moments like we've had plenty of tonight. But for me, for at least 2.5 weeks, I'm going to be leaving you. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. But tonight, at St James's Park for Newcastle, they have welcomed PSG and played them off the park tactically. Effort and drive. They've done everything for the 3 points. Mbappe was quiet. No one had chances. Dan Burn was unbelievable. And they finished the game tonight. It ends Newcastle 4, PSG 1. Goals from Almiron, 2 Newcastle fans who came through the academy of Longstaff and Burn. And it was finished nicely at the end by Fabian Schär. And at St James's Park, against the French champions, they are top of the group after 2 games. And here tonight, it finishes Newcastle 4, PSG 1.